Oh, there we are. Hello, how you doing? It's Richard. Welcome back to over and over and over again, the Positive Arsenal channel. This is going to be the Arsenal versus Manchester City pre-match warm-up show. Hello, good evening. My name is Richard. Welcome back to my channel over and over again. We did have a few technical issues, which is why we have a little bit late starting, but I think we've got everything sorted now and we're ready to go. I say this is the Arsenal versus Manchester City pre-match warm-up show. I've got some guests joining me as well. Just before I do that, just make sure that you are subscribed to my channel. Dip over to YouTube and give it a subscribe. And also, as well, wherever you're watching it, please give it a like as well. It does help the channel to grow. And if you want to join in with the show, drop any comments in and we'll go through them as well as we go through the show. Before I say any further ado, I will get the guests involved. First of all, of course, he's our regular on the show. He seems to be on more than I am. It's Melvin. How you doing, mate? Welcome back.
Good evening. This is a recording. Good evening, Richard. Looking forward to this again.
Yeah, no, I am looking forward to it. Yeah, I mean, hopefully it should be good. Arsenal against Man City games are quite a big deal for me, so I'm sort of looking forward to this. And also as well, joining us as well, he's back again. It's Andrew. How you doing, Andrew? I'll get rid of that.
All right, mate. How are you?
Yeah, no, not bad at all. Not bad at all. Good to see you back.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. We will be having a Manchester City fan join us as well. He's running a little bit late. He'll join us once he is here. So this is the panel for today's show, and this is going to be the Manchester City pre-match warm-up. Right, I mean, what I wanted to start with, really, obviously, the midweek games that we had, obviously, last night at Benfica. I know me and Melvin sort of spoke about it after the game yesterday. What were your thoughts on that, Andrew? The performance last night, the result, and everything else?
I mean, I haven't been on Twitter, to be honest, to see what the overreaction has been. But I'm pretty encouraged by it all. It's normal. I think that the next season is looking very, very positive with the players we've got on the pitch. I hope that we can keep a couple of the players with the squad. But apart from the lack of finishing from Aubameyang, which was a bit shocking, to be perfectly honest, I think the performance was pretty good. We could have won 3 or 4-1 quite comfortably, and I think the penalty was a bit harsh, to be perfectly honest. I think it hit his chest and arm pretty much at the same time, if not the chest slightly first. But obviously his arm was up, so I think I'd be disappointed if it wasn't given for us, if it was at the other end. But overall, I think that we're creating chances, which we weren't at the beginning of the season. It was completely the opposite way around. You know, we weren't creating anything. And, you know, we were scoring pretty, with the few chances that we had. But it's completely the opposite way around at the moment. But I think I love the way that we're playing at the moment. I mean, can't say enough about Saka. I think that Odegaard is extremely, extremely good. I think he's going to be a very, very important player, and I really hope we can keep hold of him. And I think Danny Ceballos is showing us what we've been missing as well. I think he was fantastic yesterday. Really, really good. His defensive work is really understated. The way he wins the ball back, and some of the passing he did yesterday was fantastic. Really, really good. So overall, I was quite encouraged. I don't think a 1-1 draw away from home is a bad result against a decent side like Benfica. And I've got no doubts whatsoever we'll do them in the return leg next week. So I wasn't too upset about it, really, to be honest. Just a bit frustrating that we didn't take the chances. I literally could have scored that first chance that Aubameyang had. I put my money on me scoring that goal. Yeah. I couldn't believe what happened. It must have been a bobble or something. I just can't understand it. He didn't even have to break stride, did he? It was perfect, but if that chance had gone away, and a couple of the other ones that he had in particular, I think we'd be looking at a completely and utterly different, result this morning. But there you go. But overall, I was quite encouraged, really.
Yeah, I mean, I thought we missed an opportunity to have won that game and made the second leg a little bit more comfortable. I mean, I know last year at this stage we did win the away leg and still managed to get ourselves knocked out. But I don't think Benfica are that good, really. They were all right. They were well organised, but they didn't really offer a lot going forward. And if they're going to do the same next week, then we shouldn't have too much to worry about, even despite the missed opportunities. I mean, what about yourself, Mel? I know last night we spoke about it. Have you had any other thoughts since then? Have you watched it back or watched any highlights or anything?
Yeah,
back of the game.
Thinking forward, I think they've got to come at us a bit more. They don't look like they've got much up front, but they will have to attack us. And that's a perfect game to play Martinelli, in my opinion. Get him on the break. I think that'd be really good. And what Andrew just mentioned about the penalty, and I didn't say about it, talk about it last night, but it's weird because it hit his chest and hit his arm. Normally, that would not be a penalty. But the commentators had to say, oh, it was given because of brawl. They give those penalties. How do they know that? I don't think it's the truth. They just can't. They can't love knocking us.
It's virtually point blank as well. I mean, he was really close to him. But the problem was he had his arm up. If he didn't have his arm up, wouldn't have had a penalty. Yeah. And like I said, I have to be honest and say if that was against us, I'll be disappointed if we didn't get it, obviously. And I have to look at it that way.
The body first, Andrew.
Yeah, I can't deny the fact.
Normally they're not given.
I mean, I know it's really harsh, and I don't think there should be a penalty. But by the laws of the game, they are, aren't they? So I would have been disappointed.
The law is. What is the law?
Exactly.
His arm.
I feel as though
because his arm was not in a normal position, if you like. That's what they say, isn't it? If it's in if it's not. I can't describe the wording of it, but it was in an abnormal position.
A natural position,
silhouette, and that's the only reason.
Anyway, number one, it wasn't.
I don't think it is.
Number two,
I agree.
Yeah, I mean, I actually don't think that would have been given in the Premier League, actually, because it did take a ricochet on the way to his arm, and I don't think it would have been given actually in the Premier League. So maybe people are saying, "Oh, in Europe it's given." Maybe that's true to a certain degree. I'm not sure if it. Mind you, ever said that if it was against us, it probably would have still been given. But there you go. Depends on who the referee was, I suppose. But I mean, go on.
Just say one more thing as well that I agree with Melvin about Martinelli. And one thing that was extra encouraging was that when he came on yesterday, he was put in the centre forward role.
Yes,
and I was very, very happy to see that. Really happy.
Yeah.
So maybe that's the plan for tomorrow. I don't know, but it was really good to see. Actually, he didn't get much of a chance, obviously, coming on so late. But that was a really, really positive move from Arteta, so that he did actually stick him up front centrally.
Yeah. No. I agree. I think that could be, one eye on the game against Manchester City, actually, as a potential. I don't think he'll probably start there. I don't know. But he's certainly an option there. And maybe last night was about giving him some time up front and seeing how he got on. But he didn't get any service at all. So it's hard to judge, really. There was one cross, wasn't there? Kieran Tierney had a chance to put in and he completely messed it up and put it over the bar. And you could see how frustrated Martinelli was because last season they linked up quite well, them two, didn't they, in the Europa League games and stuff. A couple of good crosses, and Martinelli scored a few goals from Tierney crosses, and I think he was looking forward to get a decent ball in. It ended up going in what would have been the crowd. Unfortunately, there weren't no crowd there, but he looked a bit frustrated with it. But that is possibly an option, isn't it, for Sunday to Martinelli maybe having to run through the middle. We need to do something because they don't concede many goals, which we'll come on to. Shane there in the chat says Wolves got away with a handball last week. Yeah, and like I said, in the Premier League, I don't think that would have been given. I've got to be honest. But in Europe, maybe it is, and I can understand why it was given. I'm not that. I wasn't too upset about it at the time. I understood why it was given, and at the end of the day, we came straight back and got the goal, so it didn't really cost us too much, I guess. Would we have scored if they hadn't scored that penalty? Maybe, would we have a 0-0 draw?
Well,
we might.
That's another positive, though, because people have been moaning that our heads drop when we go a goal down and we don't tend to come back. But I don't believe that. I mean, against Southampton, remember we went a goal down after we had that chance, and then a minute later, they scored within the first 2 minutes of the game, and we came straight back and we won the game from being behind. And yesterday, the response, couldn't have been any more positive. I mean, it was a really beautiful move after that, and getting back into the game after 2 minutes was a really good sign of the team, I think. I don't think our heads do drop as much as people have been saying over the last few weeks. I don't think it does. I think we're being a lot more resolute.
I don't think our heads drop. There's a difference. They don't drop. But what happens is we're playing in second gear and we don't go in third gear. That's the difference. We don't.
Yeah.
We don't go off. That is the difference.
But we did yesterday. I mean, after that goal, we went down. We couldn't have responded better, could we, though, Mel?
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, but look at the Aston Villa game. You know, we had 88 minutes to score. And we were playing the same football for 88 minutes. We didn't suddenly, when we 1-0 down to Aston Villa, go right end of the game. That's it. We're going to get beat 2 or 3-0. We still believed we could win the game, but we didn't do anything about it. That's the problem.
Yeah. Yeah,
but a lot of it's got to go down to the opposition, though, sometimes as well. Because, I mean, they're a very, very good side this season. But there we go. I don't know.
If you notice as well, when we've gone 1-0 down and then scored quite quickly, such as the game at Southampton when we equalised straight away, went on to win. Last night, we equalised quite quickly and we should have gone on to win. We tend to do okay. But if we go 1-0 down and we stay 1-0 down 25 minutes or more, then we struggle then to break the teams down, don't we? That seems to be the pattern of it. If we go behind, we have to score quickly. Otherwise, we're in trouble. And that's maybe last night was lucky that we did get that goal so soon. Otherwise, we might well have ended up losing that game, which would have made it even harder next week. So I suppose we have to look at it like that. But sometimes that seems to be what happens with us, I think. I don't know if it's a confidence thing or we lose a bit of belief when we haven't scored after going behind quite quickly. I don't know. It seems to be the case, but
it's not an Arsenal exclusive thing, though, that is it? I mean, if you go down any team and you don't come back fairly quickly, you're always going to be struggling in lots of ways.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't think that's exclusive to us personally.
No, I don't think it's exclusive to us. I mean, you know, maybe the top teams such as Man City, such as Liverpool last season, they just kept battering away. And if it meant they scored in the last 5 minutes to get the result, that's what they'd do. And we very rarely seem to do that anymore. We used to, but for some reason under Arteta, we don't. Have we ever scored a last-minute equaliser or a last-minute winner this season? Have we? I mean, West Ham maybe at home was one, wasn't it? That was a really late goal that Eddie scored. But other than that, I can't think of any top of my head. A really late last-minute.
We had the. I mean, it was last season, but we had the Sheffield United winner with Danny Ceballos the last few seconds, didn't we? But I mean, we can't compare ourselves against Man City and Liverpool at the moment. I mean, they're a different class. But yeah, I totally get your point, but they're just different machines, weren't they? Man City have been like that for years. Liverpool last season before, different class, different type of team altogether. We're just not in that league at the moment. But I can see good shoots of recovery, and I can't state enough how much I'm looking forward to next summer. And if we can have a good summer in regards to the transfer window, I think it's looking positive for us to try and make that next step up that we obviously need.
One thing one thing I haven't seen on social media that I thought would have been quite a big talking point, and I'm upset it's not, because I think we ought to get it out there, is the way that Saka's been treated and not protected by A, the referee, whatever game it is, and B, our own players. Yeah. I think our own players have got to take a bit of responsibility. If it means getting in the face of the referee, not to get sent off or booked or nothing. Just the first time he gets hit, right? Come on, ref, what's going on here? Just put it in the ref's mind, right? Yeah. Because the last few games, they've just been all over him, and he gets up, he doesn't moan, and I'm not blaming him. That's good, that's professionalism. But the other players on the pitch, the experienced ones, should just have a little moan in the ref's ear or throw their arms about, and also
that's what the captain should be doing, though, isn't it?
That's what. Sorry.
I think that's the captain's job, isn't it? The captain should be approaching the referee and saying, "Come on, that's twice now, ref. No, he's not, and that's the problem we've got, isn't it? You know, somebody needs to do it. I mean, David Luiz maybe could step up. Xhaka, they have maybe got the potential to do that, but somebody needs to take that, don't they? I agree with you, and say to the referee when it happens the second time, look, that's twice now, ref. Come on, sort it out.
Yeah.
And then it puts that seed in the ref's mind, doesn't it? And then maybe next time he gets clattered, a yellow card comes out. Man United used to do it all the time, didn't they?
Yeah, of course.
In their heyday. And, you know, it doesn't happen so much in football these days. I think it has changed slightly. Not does. I think in general, it doesn't happen as much, does it? I don't think players really get on the referee's case as much as they used to. Probably because of VAR and whatever. Now they're worried about they'll end up getting sent off, I suppose. But just a quiet word with the ref, all you need sometimes, isn't it?
Exactly.
Just as you run past him, just say, "Come on, ref, watch out for that." He's happened a couple of times, and then I say maybe that might help. I don't know, but yeah, I think something needs to happen because the refs aren't protected. I mean, Saka's got no protection whatsoever, has he? The last 4 or 5 games, he's just got kicked all over the place, and he just gets up and gets on with it. And maybe that's one of the reasons why, because he doesn't make a big deal out of it. He doesn't maybe get the protection that perhaps other players who roll around screaming, pretending to be hurt, tend to maybe do. But I don't know, it's not right. And let's hope that it doesn't lead to him getting a serious injury because he's so important for us. I mean, I did want to obviously open our Man City fan a bit. I wanted to kind of touch on obviously Manchester City and their unbelievable run of recent form that they've been on, scoring goals, not conceding any goals, winning game after game, beating our record of 14 wins in a row. They've gone past that now. And I mean, I just really want to know what you was. I mean, you start with you, Melvin. What have you been making of Manchester City? Is it because they are a really good side? I mean, they are. But is it also because the rest of the Premier League are actually really average this season?
I think it's a bit of both. But they are a very, very, very good team. Every one of their players looks so comfortable on the ball. This has been happening for years now. They get the ball. They've got 3 options, number one. They know where they're going to put it. They make the other team run all over the shop. They must be knackered by the 80th minute, you know. They're one step ahead of every other team. They get beat because if a team plays against them physical, fast football and throws caution to win, like I think Leeds did this year when it was 1-1. Leeds deserved to win that game. They really played well. And they went 1-0 down, Leeds, and typical Leeds, don't care what the score is, we're just playing football and go at them. And they did. Once you sit back and watch their pretty football, you're finished. And they will make the slightest halt to score a goal. What I hope doesn't happen, though, is we've got an important game next Thursday, the second leg. I hope we don't smash Villa on Sunday and get too overconfident.
I think that's slightly optimistic. Tom's here, a Manchester City fan. How are you doing, Tom? You all right?
How are we doing, chaps? You okay? Am I late?
Right, Tom?
I do apologise, gentlemen. I do apologise. I think I said 7 o'clock. How are we doing, boys? You okay?
Yeah, fine, thanks. Good.
Very good, mate. Good to see you.
Say again,
you look like you're in a brothel, mate. Yes. Really, I like the style.
The red room's next door. That's the red lights.
Manchester is blue, isn't it? So you're fine. So
absolutely, yeah. This is my garage, stroke man cave, stroke office, stroke place where I come to get away from the wife and kids for a bit. Pal.
Fantastic.
We all need one of them, don't we?
Just a bit. How is everyone today? We looking forward to Sunday?
No.
No, not really.
Sunday morning, yeah, about Sunday afternoon.
I mean, you've come in at the right time, actually, because we were just kind of talking about Manchester City and their current form and how well they've been playing. I mean, I was sort of saying that it's kind of a combination of the fact, obviously, Manchester City have got a very settled side, you know, and I feel the rest of the Premier League has maybe been below par. Liverpool have had big problems and nobody's really managed to put a consistent run together. So the fact that you've now gone on this run, that's probably me. It's a combination of the two things. I mean, I haven't watched a lot of City this season, actually, because just haven't had the chance to. I mean, obviously you've been playing well. You're not conceding goals. That seems to be the biggest sort of change for me, the number of goals you're conceding, or the least number of goals you're conceding compared to maybe the last couple of years.
Yeah, you know, it's a funny one because before this season started, there's lots of doom and gloom in the City ranks. There's a lot of negativity towards Pep, which I, as a long-serving City fan, is find it absolutely incredible. But I think that's just the day and age in social media and 15-year-olds with access to a laptop. Signing one defender in Ruben Diaz has quite literally transformed the outlook and thought process this season. It's remarkable how one player can make a difference. We all know looking into cameras now that City have spent up £10 on trying to bring in the ideal defensive unit. So we've been doing it left, right, and centre, and it's just not worked. We've never really found that stature-like player that is Vincent Kompany, of somebody to be able to take over and really just grab the team by the scruff of the neck and take us through to where we need to be and where we want to be. And with Ruben Diaz, we've just unlocked exactly what we needed, and we're reaping the rewards massively for it. It's phenomenal. This season's a bizarre one. I've said that a number of times on our show, but in a way, it reminds me of the season that Leicester won the league, where nobody actually really stood up and gone, right, we're having this is ours, we're going to put massive pressure on the teams in the top four, and we're going to go and do it. And Leicester went and did it. And I obviously don't like to put us in the same bracket as Leicester, who are doing fantastically well this season. But does that make sense in what I'm saying, the analogy I'm using there, where there's not like four or five teams thinking, right, let's go and win it. There's kind of like everyone sometimes keeps kind of petering away at the moment, which is bizarre to see.
Yeah, I mean,
at one stage, I thought that Villa could, someone like Villa could do it at one stage. I thought, this is such a strange season. Everything could click and everyone could be on form at the same time with no injuries, and something amazing could happen. Unfortunately, Man City put paid to that. But, I mean, I think that, in my opinion, that Pep Guardiola has answered an awful lot of questions for me this year, because he's literally changed the way that they've played. He's coached the team incredibly well. They've not spent the same amount of money that they normally do. And I'll tell you what, I mean, the player of the year so far for me this season, for Man City at least, is João Cancelo. He has been unbelievable, right? Coming in the right back. I don't know how long he's actually been there, but all of a sudden, you've seen the different quality that he's brought to that team, and it's just transformed them. I mean, it's just that he can play in like 3 or 4 different positions in one game, and the way that he's been a revelation as far as I'm concerned. Plus, there are the John Stones just coming back into form. I mean, that Ruben Diaz signing cannot be understated, because I think he's brought the best out of John Stones, and whether it's by chance or not, the fact that they work so well together and John Stones come back into a magnificent form, it's just, I think it can't be understated, the work that he's done there this season, Pep Guardiola, and it just answers all the questions where people have been saying in the past, myself included, that he's been winning all these trophies in the past because he's always had the money. He's always had the best players the world's got to offer. But this season, he's doing it without Kevin De Bruyne. He's doing it without any sort of decent recognised striker. Aguero's been out for pretty much a year, near enough, isn't he? And he's still producing a quality winning team that's playing differently, not scoring anywhere near as many goals, but they're not conceding anywhere near as many goals as they used to either. And I think that it's just been magnificent.
I think it's funny because Pep once said, didn't he, that he would love 11 players that were all midfielders in the team, and the signing of Cancelo, he's been with us about 18 months, maybe 2 years. We did him in a swap. I can't remember who it was for, actually. I think it might have been Danilo that went the other way. From memory, I can't remember. He had, I think every player that comes into Pep's team has a really ropey first 12 months. And that's quite synonymous with all the players that have come in. And Ruben Diaz has really booked the trend in that and come in and just slipped straight into the position and started doing fantastically well. Cancelo didn't have the greatest start. He really struggled to adapt to the possession football that Pep likes to play. But where he also struggled was he struggled to fit into the... It's a bizarre position that he plays. Him and the right back and left back position kind of play inverted midfield positions, leaving our two central defenders at the back, and just instead that whenever City are on the attack, they kind of go in front of the centre backs partnership and kind of marshal the midfield as well. And I think Cancelo really struggled to get that in his head. And this season, it's just clicked, and we're finding out what a fantastic footballer he is, and he can play in left back as well. Do you know what? I'd actually argue to say he's a better left back than he is a natural right back from the games we've seen him play, because obviously City have struggled at left back in recent years. So, yeah, I think we're quite spoilt to have Cancelo playing for us.
Yeah,
I mean, what did you make?
I love him.
I mean, at the start of the season, Tom, you obviously had a bit of a slow start, didn't you? You lost a couple of games, drew a few, and it was, you was below us, actually. That's how bad your start was. I mean, could you see this run of form coming, or has it come as a bit of a shock?
No, it's a definite shock. Yeah, for me, I mean, crikey, we were having crisis talks on our podcast saying, right, let's just take this season's a weird season, COVID, etc. No one's going to go run away with it. And before you know it, you could kind of see we always had 2 or 3 games in hand, but you didn't want to think, right, well, that's 9 points guaranteed. But now we've caught up with everyone. We've won those games, and before you know it, we're 10 points clear of United. And it's crept up on me. It's crept up on me massively. I don't like predictions. You're going to ask me for the score predictions later, but I'm a bit superstitious with stuff like that. So I hope you don't mind if I don't give you one. But crept up massively. It's bonkers to see where we are now.
Yeah. I mean, I must admit, you started off your winning game sort of 1-0, wasn't you, quite a lot, and just sort of scraping through, and then suddenly over the last maybe month or two, suddenly you're scoring goals as well, aren't you? Winning 3s and 4-0s and 5-0s and stuff like that as well now, and obviously the rest of the league are sitting back and thinking, okay, this is gone. Let's just fight for second place. I think that's how it's kind of worked, doesn't it, now? And I mean, do you think it's because you have got a settled system and everybody knows what they're doing now? Whereas I'm thinking other clubs have Chelsea brought a lot of new players in. Man United are maybe going for a bit of a transition under Ollie. We're obviously going through a lot of transition. Spurs as well with a new manager and stuff like that. Do you think that's maybe helped you along the way? Season,
I do. I think Spurs were always going to do the Spursy thing. They were always going to die away because Mourinho's just got a natural way of just chucking a hand grenade in the middle of whatever he does in the last couple of seasons, hasn't he? I've been really surprised with Chelsea. I had them tipped to be fighting. I mean, obviously at the beginning of the year I said, City going to win the league, because any City fan would do, as well as I'm assuming every Arsenal fan would do in that instance. But I was going to say, actually, maybe not. Well, you don't fancy
now.
Yeah, not now. Well, do you know what? It's funny because
maybe years ago.
Maybe years ago. I mean, when I got my when we did the predictions, I thought Chelsea had a really good, because obviously the signings they brought in and the Lampard factor, and I think Roman's an absolute nutcase. I can't get my head around his. I mean, obviously I don't know many Chelsea fans. You lads must know more than I do, but I can't get my head around them getting rid of Lampard so early. But it's a business, I suppose, and they take all emotion out of it, don't they?
Well, I think Abramovich.
I never thought he was going to win the league because of Lampard. I think they were doing well despite Lampard, personally.
Yeah.
I don't think it had anything to do with him. I wanted him to stay in charge as long as possible, because I knew they were never going to go anywhere with him in charge, to be perfectly honest. And you can see the difference overnight with Tommy Tickles coming in. He's just transformed it overnight because he knows what he's doing.
It's a funny one. One reason I put the slow start down to City was not having your manager. I honestly believe that the backroom staff wasn't clicking as well as it has been in recent years, because Arteta's not been there as Pep's number 2. I was really, really, truly disappointed when Arteta left, because I really hoped he was going to be in the apprentice role to take Pep's role, because I just assumed Pep would finish his contract and leave at the end of this year. Obviously, he's signed a 2-year extension now, and I think that's potentially why he has gone to Arsenal, because he knew Pep was going to sign an extension. I was really disappointed with that. How do you think Arteta's doing from your point of view, from Arsenal's? Are you still, because obviously you're in where you are now in the league and you're not going to finish there, I'm sure of that. How do you rate him?
To be honest, I'm not sure if he's got the experience as being a head coach to take us where we want to go in terms of, getting back in the top 4 and then eventually challenging for the title. I don't just blame him. I don't think the club are investing enough to be able to do that either. But I think he can take us to a certain level. And then I think after that, does he lack the experience? I think he's a very good coach. And I think he was a very good number 2. And maybe that's what he is, as opposed to as if he's ever going to be a really good number 1. I hope I'm wrong, because I like Arteta a lot and I like what he's trying to do. I'm just not sure if he's quite got. I think what the job at Arsenal was a massive job when he came in, and I think we need somebody with a little bit more experience at a top level management to come in and do that job. And I'm not sure whether he is got that to be able to do that. I'm not sure yet. And so far, I think we've struggled at times, and not just down to him. I think he's had his hands tied behind his back in a lot of ways as well, and a few things behind the scenes haven't helped him. But the jury's still out for me a little bit. I want him to succeed desperately. I'd love Arteta to be the guy that takes us back to the top. I'm just not convinced yet that he's going to be able to do that. And we might end up with a similar Frank Lampard situation, whereas, you know, I would have took that Tuchel. I would have took him in November, December time when we were struggling. I would have took him all day long because he's an experienced manager. He knows what he's doing. He's won big trophies. I know Pep has won them, but as a number two, not many number twos go on to be good number ones today, and historically, and that worries me a little bit. But you know, I don't want him sacked or anything now. I want us to stick by him. Just not sure how far he can take us on his own as number one. That's all. I don't know what you guys think, Melvin.
I think that he had an unbelievably hard job when he first came to the club. I mean, he beat us 3-0 the week before he joined us, and he must have. I don't know why he wanted to join us, because they were like, they could have won 10-0. It was over in 5 minutes, the game at to the Emirates. But he joined, and he's taken us to a better level. There's no question about that. And I think that that what's my worry with him is more of his man management. I get worried about there's too much openness. He seems to have arguments with too many players. Perhaps all managers do, but perhaps he's too open. But to rub, you can't. It is not the age now to rub players up the wrong way. You can't let them get away with murder. But then again, things have changed. Years ago, the clubs owned the players. They don't actually own the players anymore. You know, and if they don't want to play for you, they don't play for you. That never used to happen years ago. But I think when you talk about his experience, Richard, perhaps, and I'm hoping this is the case, he's an intelligent guy, very intelligent guy. Hopefully, he can grow into the appointment. You know, I think by next year, he's got another year under his belt. So I think that might happen with him. He might, and hopefully that will be the case, and he can take us on to bigger and better things. Yeah,
no, I hope so. Yeah, I really hope so, because it'd be great if he can really succeed, because he is a nice guy. Like you said, he's intelligent. He clearly loves the club as well. He wants to succeed, and to me, he's got all the ingredients. I just feel the experience is the one thing, and the man management, as you said as well. I don't think he's handled some players particularly well. But I know, Andrew, you're a big fan, aren't you, of Arteta?
I'm more confident now than I ever have been, because to come through that period that we had and carry on improving the team is giving me even more confidence in him. I think he's going to be one of the world's top managers in time. And no one ever gives him the credit for the fact that when he came into the job, everything that's happened. And now it's happened for everyone. But this is a guy that's coming into his first job at a massive club like Arsenal, actually getting COVID himself, and then going through the season that he did last year, actually winning the cup, and then going through the terrible start that he had this year and coming through it even stronger in some ways. I just think shows you how good he is. He didn't have the pre-season, and don't forget, because of the way that the season's having to go, 3 or 4 weeks shorter than it normally would be, with all the same amount of fixtures, he's not got any time on the training ground to work with the players on the way that he wants to play football. He's only got 3 days between games maximum, and that 2 of those days are like a warm down, and then obviously a sort of an easier training way to build up to the next game. So just see what happened from when he had 8 days with the players before the Leeds game. You know, he had that 8 days where he could actually work with the players on the training ground for the first time, I think, since he's taken control. He's had that much time to work on things. And we played superb football against Leeds. Yes, we let in a couple of goals in the second half, but we played unreal football. And that just shows you what he can actually achieve when he's actually got time with the players on the training ground. So I'm just hoping to God that we actually have a full pre-season this year, and we'll see the fruits of his labour. And I honestly think we can actually start properly challenging the top 4 next year. I was disappointed because I thought we possibly could this year, and because of that run that we had, that's over now. But I do think that he's going to be an incredible manager personally, and I think we'll see. I just hope we can see it ourselves at Arsenal, because I don't think if he carries on the way he is, I don't think that it's going to go unnoticed by all the top clubs around Europe, and God forbid Man City as well. If anything happens with Pep, he'll come straight back in.
I think we've got to do better than being in 10th place, though, for him to get noticed by other clubs. I think while we're in mid-table in the Premier League, no one's going to be taking any notice at all, are they? That's the problem.
No, but I don't think we're going to be 10th in the Premier League for too long. I don't think that's our position, especially next year. Maybe we'll finish at 10th this year, but I don't think that's the realistic way of the way that Arsenal are under Arteta. I think we need to see him in a normal season where he's had time to sit down and relax and actually breathe out for once, and not have to stress about everything that's going on. He's had none of that. He hasn't had any of that time. Some of the stuff he's had to go through is phenomenal, and to actually, I am a little bit concerned, like Melvin said, about his man management. However, I do think he's going about it the right way, and getting all the bad click out the club that he did in the transfer window just gone I don't care the fact that we had to pay them off to go. Wasn't his problem. But he's done it. He's been decisive, and we've had to rip off that plaster in order to move forward. And I think he's done it, and he's rooted out all the bad eggs, and that's taken a lot of good, strength as a coach to do that. To say that I'm willing to do that, and we're going to see the benefits of it over the coming months.
Did you agree with what he did with Ozil? Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, yes and no. I mean, he did it for a reason, and we won't know until Ozil does a tell-all story about it. But we could have done with that creativity, yes. But if it's true about all the rumours about the way that he negatively affected the dressing room, then yes, of course it was the right decision. I put my faith in him that he made that decision for the benefit of the club and for the team. But we'll never know until it all comes out in the wash further down the line.
That Smith Rowe is a good lad for you, isn't he? Sorry to interrupt again.
No. I mean, I just find it a little bit strange actually that he froze Ozil out of the team completely when we were struggling before Christmas. He's now got in Odegaard on loan till the end of the season, who's a similar player, very plays in a similar position, left-footed, adds that balance, can spot a pass. And it's like, well, fair enough. If Ozil wasn't going to stay beyond till January, at least play him in the first half of the season. And if you wanted a player like that in the team, it seemed crazy to leave him out completely. Whatever the reasons are, you've got to put that to one side and say, what's the best for this team? Do I need a player like that in the team? At the time, he was saying no because he didn't pick him, and suddenly in January, first opportunity, he gets a left-footed number 10 in to play that very same role. And to me, I just find that a little bit strange.
That shows you, though. That shows you that there's something going on. He wouldn't cut his nose off to spite his face, would he? He wouldn't want to lose games. He wouldn't want to lack creativity. And he showed that he needs someone in that role, but he didn't play him. He didn't register him. So it just shows you how important those things behind the scenes were for him to do that. Surely you can see that.
No, I just find it bizarre, really. When you look at it like that, it just seemed a strange decision. But like you said, we don't really know what's gone on. Something clearly has. Whether that was out of Arteta's hands, maybe with Ozil, we don't really know, do we? Maybe because he was playing him before lockdown every single game, and then suddenly we had lockdown. We came back and he didn't get a sniff. He was on the bench twice, and that was it. And then he got left out of the squad. He wasn't even named in the squad this season. To me, something's gone on behind the scenes, whether it's Arteta's decision or whether it was taken from above, and Arteta's had to take the flak for it. I'm not sure, but luckily now it's over and done with. Ozil's gone. We've got new players in the team now, and things are looking a lot better than they were before Christmas. But hopefully one day it will come out. We'll know what went on. But yeah, it just doesn't sit right with me because it doesn't make sense. There must have been something has gone on somewhere along the line that I say either Arteta made that decision himself, which I'd be surprised if he has. I don't think it was his choice. I think it's come from above him, if I'm honest. But maybe one day we'll know. But the good thing is now it's over and done with, and we can move on as a club as well now, because Ozil's out the door. Unfortunately, as far as I'm concerned, because I still think he had a little bit to offer us. But anyway, he's gone. We've got Odegaard in, who looks even better. So it's happy days as far as I'm concerned with that now. What I want to do is, obviously, we want to come back to this game a little bit later on, but I do want to take a little trip down memory lane for a little bit. Look back at this. Well, obviously, Arsenal and Man City have played each other a lot of times in history, 202 times, which Melvin knows because he's been to most of them, so he remembers. So a lot of memories there. Just before we start on this, I just want to say that Arsenal Man City game will always mean a lot to me, because it was my first ever Arsenal game at Highbury against Manchester City with the visitors. October 1981. Wasn't a great season for Arsenal. Wasn't a great season for Man City either, from what I remember. They had reached the FA Cup final the year before.
Yeah. So Ricky Villa. Yeah.
So that was my first ever match at Highbury, watching Arsenal. So it was a pretty poor season from Arsenal point of view, but that game will always. It was 25,000 fans in Highbury, obviously massive, big stadium, half empty. And at the time, I suppose to me it didn't make any difference. But now, what we would give for a 25,000 crowd anywhere, do you know what I mean? And at them days, it seemed like a poor crowd, not much atmosphere. But now that seemed like amazing, wouldn't it? A 25,000 crowd. But anyway, that's sort of the biggest memory that I've got, and I say that'll always. Arsenal Man City games will always be a big game for me, just for that reason, really, because it just brings back memories of my first ever game. I mean, I know Melvin's got a lot of memories from 1870 and stuff like that. What ones come to your mind, Melvin, when it comes to Arsenal?
Never gets old, does it? Every week, never gets old.
No. 1968, Man City were the champions in August. We played in the first month of the new season. We beat them 4-1. And we weren't a particularly great team then. As I say, City were the champions. They had all the great footballers, the Bells and the Lees and all that. And we thought, this is Summerby, obviously. And you had the right back, Book. Tony Book was the captain, I think. Was it Tony Book? People like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
yeah. Was it? Yeah.
They were a terrific team to watch. They had everything, and we actually beat them. We had a reserve that come into the game called Jenkins. David Jenkins scored 2 goals. And about, I think, a month or two later, we swapped him for Jimmy Robertson at the Spurs. And he never really played a lot for Spurs. He was a bit of a letdown for them. But that was it was an evening match. I think we years ago used to play the first match on a Saturday, and the next match you played on the Tuesday. Alternatively, you knew if you played at home one season, first game of the season, you'd play away the next season. So that was a really lovely summer's evening. You know, the grass was green, because it was never green years ago, wasn't it? The first few matches it was green, it was all mud. But it was great to see. Get there on a Tuesday night. First game I was going to watch that season. We beat the champions 4-1, so that was lovely. Also, I went up to Man City. Totally different weather. It came down to rain. We played during the League Cup, 1978. And we had Jennings in goal. And Jennings was unbelievable. He hit us with everything. And he had like 12 hands, Jennings. They could not get the ball past him. And it was I'm sitting there, I'm probably still wet from the journey up in some little van we went up in, a few of me and my mates. And it was coming down raining, and it was dark, and all you'd see is you just had to turn your neck one way to watch the game, because it never went up the other end of the field. But we managed to nick a 0-0 draw, and we managed to get a penalty in the replay to win 1-0. But there's a game I never went to. This is a weird game, this one. And it was the year before I started watching the Arsenal. It was in 1961. We beat City 5-4 at home. And what is strange about that game? Number one, the score's a bit strange, isn't it? But we scored 5 goals, and in goal for Manchester City was Bert Troutman, who was an unbelievable goalkeeper.
Oh, yeah.
And as I say, Man City scored 4 goals that day, and one forward, never scored a goal. You know who that was? Dennis Law.
Oh.
How many times has he been in a team, Dennis Law, that scores 4 goals and he doesn't score? So I wish I would have gone in that game, but it's a bit, to think of that, a game like that, to beat City 5-4. You've got that goalkeeper in goal, then Dennis Law on the other side, who doesn't score, but the team scores 4.
Yeah, he wasn't well known for his assists. Yeah.
Yeah, amazing. Really
was
good.
Troutman still suffering from a broken neck at the time, though, to be fair?
Yeah, he had a bit of a bandage. He couldn't turn round, could he? Just right to the side of him.
Brace on.
That might have been the reason then. Yeah, that's what 5 because of that reason. Yeah. What yourself, Andrew? What kind of games against Man City kind of stick in your mind?
Well, there is one that really sticks in my mind. Actually, it was when I've not long finished sort of travelling. I've been out the country for like 2 or 3 years. I went backpacking around the world, and then I went living in Sweden for a while. Came back to the UK, and I wasn't in a bit of a crap situation at the time in my own personal life, and I went down to Highbury and watched Arsenal Man City, and it was a absolutely fantastic game. It was 2000, and I think it was around sort of October, November time. We won 5-0, and I remember.
Yeah.
Guess who was in goal that day? Guess who was in goal for Arsenal in 2000? Yeah, go on, have a think.
Taylor.
Who played it? No.
Manninger? Was it Manninger?
No.
John
Lukic. John Lukic.
Oh yeah, it was. Yeah, John Lukic. Yeah.
After all that time, he
played.
I know he was really. I mean, he must have been really old, properly blind by that point.
Yeah.
But yeah. I mean, we had it was such a good. I reminded myself of the scorers on the day. It was Cole, who was 19 at the time. Ashley Cole scored a free kick from outside the area just before half time.
Yeah, the clock in there.
And then we had, and then it was Will Todd came on for Parlour, and he scored within a couple of minutes of coming on. Ljungberg came on for Perez, and I think it was Perez's first season. I think at the time we were still a bit unsure about Robert Perez at that particular point. He started quite slowly, but and then Bergkamp and Henry scored another couple of goals. But it was such a good day out. I remember it really cheered me up after a pretty crap time I was going through at that point. So that was one game I thoroughly enjoyed, because obviously we'd already been successful under Wenger at that point, but we were really starting to be very exciting. And at the start of every season, this is when we were talking what you were saying earlier, Tom, about thinking we could win the league that season. I think it was very strong at that point for Arsenal fans. We really started to feel really confident, and that win was fantastic. And you had that midfielder who got sent off that game.
Well, Paul Dickoff would have played for us at that point. Oh, Danny Tiato.
Tiato, that's it. Yeah, he was a complete nutcase, wasn't he?
Left back midfielder. Yeah, absolutely mental. Yeah, great player.
He was a proper. He used to get sent off all the time, didn't he? His tackling was horrendous. I remember he was a proper sort of. I think he thought of himself as a very big, hard man. But whether he was or not, I don't know. But I remember him getting sent off a lot of times.
He was only about 4 foot. I remember at May Road he got sent off, and he kicked a water bottle. He went and kicked a water bottle. The little water bucket carrier thing that carries all the bottles. He kicked one of them as hard as he can, and a couple of bottles went flying into the stand, and he had to apologise to a few people.
Yeah, he was a bit of a nutcase. I remember him getting sent off that game. But yeah, that was a fabulous day out. I really, really enjoyed that one. That really sticks in my memory. And obviously, more recently, I can't forget about the semi-final last year as well. And that was a great performance by Arsenal. And what really struck me was what you were saying earlier, Tom, about losing Arteta. I think in that game, you really saw him missing. And I think it was that game where Pep Guardiola turned round and
he was talking to his seat, wasn't he?
There was no one there. It looked like he was a broken man after that game, after Arteta beat him. I think he was so gutted, Pep Guardiola. And I think that it really hit home to him from looking that, he was really missing him at that point. I think it really struck me.
It looked a bit sad, didn't it, when he turned around and no one was there for him to talk to?
Yeah. He carried on talking anyway.
Right.
Yeah, it's a bit odd, yeah. But I think it really struck me that day that he was really missing him.
Yeah. I think so, yeah. But as Tom said before, it maybe took a while for that to kind of clear, and it's only been maybe recently that Man City have got over that, maybe, and Pep's got over it, perhaps. I mean, what about yourself, Tom? What sort of memories have you got of obviously beating Arsenal in the last few years?
Well, you know what, I'm gonna cater to the audience here, lads. I hope that's all right. But one of the most memorable games of playing Arsenal was I remember it. I was 21. It was the 22nd of February. And it's the first time I've ever clapped a team off at half time. You were 4-0
up. 5-1?
5-1, yeah. Honestly, you were incredible that day. You were absolutely incredible. And I've never known so many home fans to clap a team off at half time and at full time. Then that Arsenal team was incredible. I think Henry just lit everywhere up. He was, what a play, crikey, yeah.
That goal Henry scored, wasn't it, with that first touch and the first time finishing at the bottom corner, that was an unbelievable goal, wasn't it?
I think you were like 4-0 up after 15, 16 minutes as well. 20 minutes maybe, something like that. But that's I'm definitely catering to the audience there from that point of view. But we had a game against you a few seasons ago, and I think, was it 3-0? And we had something like 50, 60 passes before we scored a goal at your ground. And it was just one of those moments, because I've always seen Arsenal after that game. I've always seen Arsenal as very much of a flash, but not in a bad way. Very much of a one-touch passing, player move, that type of team. I've always had a lot of liking for Arsenal and how you played. And when we'd beat you that game, and it was quite a comfortable result, it was kind of like, City have made it now, haven't they? And I'm looking at my dad thinking, is this what, you've wanted this all your life? And my dad's have been a Blue since, well, Bert Trotman's age. And yeah, when we finished that game and we beat you quite comfortably, it was like a Wednesday night or something. It was just like, oh, do you know what? Actually, we're a real force now. We're a team now, and it's the recognition of that going into it. But yeah, that 5-1 game for me was an incredible wakener for me.
Yeah, no, that was a great performance. I mean, that was probably, that was just the season. I think that was the season before the Invincibles, actually. So that team was just kind of coming into their own. I think it was around about that time, wasn't it? Just before the Invincibles. So yeah, that team was just starting to really gel, and that performance kind of summed it up. Really, that was. Like you said, it was 4-0 up in about 20 minutes, and absolutely.
You had like Bergkamp, Henry, Perez, obviously Vieira. Yeah, phenomenal team. That makes sense. Yeah, I didn't put the 2 and 2 together with regards to the Invincibles year, but yeah, that makes sense now. Yeah,
I think it was the season before. Because
that was the last. Thanks for going easy on us.
that was our last. That was our last game, actually, before you moved stadium, I think, as well.
To be honest with you, lads, we were quite happy for anyone to beat us, as long as you beat United to win in the league. So we couldn't care less at that stage.
Unfortunately, that season was the season that we blew it, and they ended up winning that particular title. But we did get our revenge the season after. With the Invincible season. But yeah, obviously, we've played Man City so many times over recent years. They were always close games, actually, for quite a number of years. We seem to tend to win at home and maybe struggle sometimes away. But obviously, in the last few years, you've just obviously that 3-0 game you just mentioned, that's been typical the last 5 or 6 times we've played you at home. Including the League Cup earlier this season, where that was another disastrous performance from us, wasn't it? And with a 4-1 in that game. But yeah, I suppose it's just the way it's turned, actually, because we always had a fairly decent home record against you guys. I think we went 28 games without losing at home over a sort of 25-year period against Man City. And then now we can't seem to win. So it's turned a full circle, maybe, matches between the clubs. But I guess the circumstances at both clubs have changed somewhat, haven't they, over the last 5 years or so, with, the decline that we've had, maybe, and obviously you getting Pep and a renaissance, if you like.
Correct me if I'm wrong. Have you beat us twice in the FA Cup? The last 2 times you beat us have been the FA Cup games.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was trying to think of a league. Yeah, I couldn't think of the last league game you beat.
We haven't won in the league since December 2015. It was at the Emirates when we won 2-1. Right. I think Walcott scored, and I think Yaya Toure scored for you guys in the second half towards the end and pulled 2-1. And that's the last time we've beaten you in the league. Yeah, we've won twice in the FA Cup. You obviously beat us in the League Cup final as well in between those two.
We played
the final one.
To be fair, though, every time we were challenging with you and possibly better than you just bought all our best players, didn't you? Right, and that's the work.
We bought some crackers off.
Well, We're going to come on to that in a minute, actually. I mean, Joe's just got a question for you there, Tom. He said, would you rather win the Premier League for the next 5 years or win the Champions League this year?
Oh, what a question.
I think we will win it this year.
Do you know what?
Best chance ever.
Oh, gosh, great question. I think I'm going to have to go Champions League because we've not done it. I think we're going to have to go Champions League just from a family's point of view as well. We've not won it. It'd be awesome to celebrate it with my family. And yeah, I think from that point of view, this year is going to be the Champions League. Good question, that's a really good question. If you would have asked me a couple of years ago, I would have said Premier League all the way. But with all the stick with not having won it yet, oil money, etc., and all the other City bingo games that people like to play against us, I think it'd be nice to shut a few Scousers up as well that live close to me.
Yeah, I think
it's the best chance ever. Best chance ever this year, I think, the way that they're playing.
Yeah. I mean, the Champions League's the one thing we've never won, so I think we'd like to win that as well. We hit it first, which isn't easy for us. I mean, there are some sort of great memories there. What we'll do now is we'll look at, I say we just sort of touched on it there, all the players that we've sold to you guys over the years. There's actually quite a lot of players that's played for Arsenal and Man City, actually. There's loads. There really is lots. What I wanted to start with is maybe someone I know that Melvin remembers pretty well, playing for
Kiddo.
Yeah, Brian Kidd.
Brian Kidd,
yeah.
He
was
yeah. I mean, I've got statistics here actually, right? Brian Kidd for Arsenal, he played 90 games, scored 34 goals. For Manchester City, he played 98 games and scored 44 goals. So who do we think he maybe had the better playing career at?
Oh, that's a good question. It's a tough one, that to answer. I never saw him play, so I can't really.
He was a very good player, terrific player.
You have to look at the strength of the squad that he was playing in as well, at the time. Because obviously it's going to be easier to score goals if you're getting fed by better players, isn't it? So you have to look at the squad strength at the time as well, really, to answer it correctly.
We had a very
I don't think Man City was a great side, were they? Late 70s wasn't a great period for Man City, was it? They didn't have one of their better teams, did they then? I don't think particularly. I mean, I know we didn't either. We won
the FA Cup in 76 and not a lot else around that time period. And obviously we got to the final in 82, like you mentioned. But yeah, it was a bit of, wasn't the greatest couple of years for us.
Yeah, so I suppose maybe the teams were probably quite similar that he played in. I think it's quite that one for me. I think it's quite similar. I don't think we can really choose. I think he's probably a decent player at both clubs actually. So that's maybe a bit of a tie, perhaps that one. This one might be a little bit easier, maybe to decide.
Oh yeah, he was described as going to be the next England captain, centre half of years, blah blah blah. We bought him, and what happened next? He was just a complete. Well, he wasn't very good, let's put it that way. Didn't quite live up to his expectations, and we bought him because I think it was a kind of a panic buy. I think we bought him because we got beat at home in the League Cup. It was some low team from a lower division. Was it? And then we see a couple of days later, all of a sudden he's on the bench. We've signed him. So, but he was rated. I remember when he was playing for City, he was like really up and coming, really good. Like John Stones was at Everton, if you like.
Wasn't he City's youngest ever captain?
Yeah, I think he was. Yeah. I don't know why City let him go, but obviously they saw something we didn't. But he came to us and it just never worked out for him, for a number of reasons. And he passed away at a very early age, didn't he?
Yeah, he did. Unfortunately, he did. Yeah. But I mean, I think his career at Man City was a lot more successful than at Arsenal. Yeah, he certainly played a lot more games at Man City, and like you said, he was highly rated, wasn't he? One of the up-and-coming England players. And I say, I'm sure he was the youngest captain as well. So I don't quite know where it went wrong for him. Really, he came to Arsenal, and very quickly, nothing seemed to go right for him, did it? Unfortunately, there's a lot of dodgy ones coming up. This guy here, actually, I know he was really good at City, wasn't he?
Quinny. Oh, now Quinn. And his disrepants. Yeah, I've got a lot of time for now, Quinn. Yeah, I thought I would put him on in our bracket for doing better. Well, I say that I didn't really follow his record.
definitely.
But yeah, he's well loved, and City had a really, really good team when we had him. We had David White, and we had quite a few really good midfielders. Obviously, Paul Lake was playing well for us then at that point, as well as a few of the midfielders, Flitcroft and the like, and Tony Coton in there. And we had a really good team that never did anything, which was really disappointing. I've interviewed a few of the players from that team, and they said the same thing, that that was a no moment for City where we could have gone on and won a trophy or something similar, but it just petered out into unfortunately us getting rid of a couple of good managers, the likes of Peter Reid and so forth, and bringing in Dross, and it just didn't work for us. And I think it was just bad ownership, unfortunately. But yeah, I've got a lot of time for Quinny.
I mean, in the end, he played
well.
games for Man City. He scored 76 goals. He only played 93 games for Arsenal, scored 20 goals. So I think Man City definitely got the best of Niall Quinn. He never quite made it with Arsenal. He never got a regular place, did he? He scored a few important goals, but obviously he was much more successful when he left. Which he went directly to Man City, actually, didn't he? From us, just before we won the league in '91, and then he was there for 6 years. So
him and Paul Walsh had the big man, little man thing working to fine art, if I remember rightly, as well. So, yeah,
he was great.
The same happened at
Sunderland as well, wasn't he?
Yeah, Kevin Phillips. Yeah, it is.
Yeah, what a great partnership that was. Phillips and Quinn. Yeah,
definitely. It definitely was. Another one who didn't really make it at Arsenal, but I think he did okay for Man City, didn't he?
Clive Allen.
Yeah.
That's a blast from the past, crikey. Yeah, how did he do for Arsenal then?
He didn't play.
He never played. We bought him and then sold him straight away to Crystal Palace. We swapped him for Kenny Sanderson. So he didn't actually play an actual first team game for Arsenal. He played a couple of friendlies, and then he played pretty much every other London club, and he ended up at Man City in 1989. It was. He played 53 times for Man City. He scored 16 goals, so he did okay.
Yeah.
But he never quite did much at Arsenal, really. Another player who I did.
Wasn't it within a month we sold him at least, or maybe even less?
Yeah, it wasn't even that long. I think we bought him and literally sold him straight away.
Did he not go back to Arsenal, or did he go back to London?
Spurs.
Was it Spurs? Right.
Yeah, he played for Spurs.
One season, didn't he? 49 goals in one season for Spurs, I think.
He played for every London club, I think. He didn't win anything with them, obviously. Another guy that I didn't actually realise, I don't associate him with Man City, although he did obviously play a few games at the club, 23 times in actual fact.
Oh yeah, Andy Cole.
Yeah, good striker. Did well for City. I thought he could hold up the play. Had a cracking shot on him. Brilliant, got a cracking little shot. But I think City just had a knack of signing older strikers. We bought Robbie Fowler at one point as well, who again the legs had gone, but he still had the wear and all to be able to pass the ball and shoot. So yeah, he's one of them players. But yeah, he's all right. Massive for United.
I loved watching him every week in the reserves at Arsenal when he was coming up through the ranks. I could just tell straight away that he got something special. And I was really gutted when we got rid of him, because I thought, he was, how everyone's excited about Balogun at the moment. I felt like that with Andy Cole when I saw him coming through. I thought he's going to do some damage. He really is. He's going to play for England, that kid. And he just didn't get on with George Graham.
No, he had decent forwards as well, in all fairness.
We did, we had Kevin Campbell at the time come through.
Kevin Campbell kind of pushed him out, didn't he? I think Kevin Campbell got ahead of him, and he ended up actually for Man City. He played 23 games and scored 10 goals, so pretty decent goal scoring record towards the end of his career. So he didn't do bad there. He only played twice for Arsenal, never scored. But yeah, he did score a lot of goals, obviously for Newcastle, which was where he's probably main. And Man United as well. I suppose we're going to have to come on to some of these players that have really upset me. I've got to be honest. I don't know which one to start with. There's so many of them actually that really upset me. Who shall we? Actually, one who maybe didn't upset me too much. A great player for Arsenal. Well, I think Arsenal win this. Oh, here he is.
Yeah,
Colo.
Yeah, Colo. Sorry,
he was solid for us, Colo. Him and Yaya worked brilliantly together, but I think Yaya was just the better one. But yeah, did well for us, and he was a regular in the team, wasn't he, to help us lift a trophy. So I can't argue for getting him. Captain does a few times as well, if I remember rightly. So yeah, I can't argue with that one. Good one for us.
No, he was
the midfielder.
Yeah,
and he'd be running around like a headless chicken for the first few games, wasn't he? And then he suddenly slotted into centre back and became, oh my God, where's this player come from? Literally like one of the world's best central defenders then. But when he first came to the team, he literally just chasing the ball like a puppy, going around the park, in midfield. It was just, what a transformation. That unbelievable signing that we had.
Yeah, no, he was brilliant for Arsenal. He played 326 games for Arsenal, scored 14 goals, obviously part of the invincible team as well. And then he played 102 games for Man City as well later on, scored 3 goals. So he did pretty well at both clubs. But I think Arsenal probably just about got the best of him over sort of 7 seasons that he was at Arsenal. This is one that really annoys me. He annoys me just looking at his face now, actually.
Oh, Samir.
Yeah. I've got to be honest.
I really rated Samir. I know you're gonna hate me, but he's probably, I think I'm assuming there's another player. I won't name his name in case you drop him in a bit, but I loved him. I thought it was great. I thought he was a brilliant little player at the time. He came in and worked really well with Mancini. I can't remember if he came in under Mark Hughes or not before Mancini. How long was he at City for?
It was 2011. It was 2011 that he left for Man City. He stayed until
so
26.
Mancini, brilliant player, cracking feet. He scored some absolute worldies for us. Scored a brilliant goal for us against Sunderland in the cup final, League Cup final. I've got a lot of time for Samir Nasri, 100%. Did he look a bit of a coward then?
He was a good player for Arsenal. I loved him when he was at Arsenal, but I just didn't like the way he left. He ended up playing 125 games for Arsenal, scored 27 goals. For Man City, he actually played more games. He played 176 times for Man City. He scored 27 goals. Wow. Obviously, won the league.
Surprised at that.
So he played more games for Man City. Yeah, I was surprised about that as well. He played more times for Man City. He won more trophies at Man City as well. So I guess you probably got better out of him than what we did, although at the time he played for Arsenal. I mean, I really thought he was great. For 2 or 3 seasons, he was brilliant for Arsenal. There was one season when he was literally every single week, he was man of the match, wasn't he? Every single game.
Yeah. Him and Fabregas together in that midfield. Yeah. Brilliant.
Yeah. Did he not have a bad injury though? Did he not break his toe or his foot or something before Arsenal?
Broke his leg.
Did he break his leg, did he?
Yeah.
I seem to remember having a bad injury. Yeah.
He came back pretty quickly, funnily enough, which is really unusual for Arsenal. When they stub their toe, they're out for 6 months. He came back pretty quickly from that.
Yeah. What about who should we look at now? I mean, someone who didn't really annoy me too much, but he was a good player for both clubs actually. Probably equally so for both actually. He played over 200 times for both Arsenal and Man City.
Literally only just retired, didn't he? He was in Turkey until last season. He won the league with Istanbul Başakşehir on his last season.
Yeah. No, he was a pretty solid player.
It was cliche, wasn't it?
Yeah,
cliche.
Yeah, it was just a younger picture. He's one of my favourite left backs I've ever seen at City. I've a lot of time for him. I think of the left backs we had, and we do a show on your favourite positions and stuff like that. Colour off him. Funnily enough, Danny Tiato was in a few as well, and Stuart Pearce, of course. But Clichy, I don't think we've had a better left back than Clichy since he left us, and I'm struggling to think of a better left back before him. We've had a couple of good ones, but Clichy was solid, cracking defender. Yeah, really, really rated him. In fact, I'd love to see a young him working with Pep now would be an absolute world beater.
I mean, I think his problem at Arsenal was he kind of replaced Ashley Cole, and obviously he wasn't quite as good as Ashley Cole, and I think maybe he always had to suffer that at Arsenal a little bit. But I thought he was a decent player. He was solid, reliable, did his job, and he ended up moving on. And I say he played 264 games for Arsenal and 203 for Man City. So he most of it between the two clubs. So he obviously did well. At both of us, which is I don't
want to drag it out about him, but one thing I always remember about him, he was never in the press, never made a fuss, always worked hard, always give 100%, never whinged, and I love those types of players. It's just get on with it and crack on with it. It's like a Pablo type position where you just get on with it, get on the game, plays for the shirt, and gives 100%. I love that. Can't argue for any more than that.
Ultimate professional, really. I guess that's what it is, isn't it? Yeah. No, I
He's
always
incredibly intelligent as well. Really, really intelligent guy. I actually heard a podcast with him not long ago after he left Istanbul, and really intelligent guy. Speaks so well, and he wants to go. Well, he's already sort of taken his badges. He wants to be a manager. I can see him doing really, really well. Actually, he thinks the game brilliantly. Really intelligent philosophy of the game and everything. I can see him being a really good manager.
I think Tom, why he was level-headed, and I think he really was happy to do what he did because he came from a very low, I think the second or third division in France, Arsenal signed him from. And so he appreciates all of a sudden going into the UK, one of the top English clubs at the time when he joined. And he didn't want to probably throw that away. And he learned and he did very well rather than going through the ranks like some of them do and thinking they're world stars at 18. This guy really appreciated it, and it was good for his football and his character.
Yeah, no, definitely, yeah. And he was a solid player. I always quite liked him. And of course, there was another fullback as well who I was quite upset when he left. He wasn't so bad in the way he left, but I was disappointed that he left because I thought he was a brilliant player for Arsenal.
He was great.
What was your thoughts on him? I rated him. I thought he was good.
I thought he was brilliant.
He was a very good fullback. I think he was actually probably better defensively than going forward. I really do think that. He was solid. He was absolutely solid. And he gave no quarter. He was terrific. He was had good football brain. He was strong. He was fast. No, I was upset when we let him go. We didn't let him go.
Yeah, I was.
Really? Yeah. But most attractive wife you'll ever see as well. His wife is stunning.
Left on a free, didn't he? We got
the end of his contract.
Yeah,
it was the end of his contract. He left after he won the FA Cup in 2014 on a free transfer at the end of his contract. And he didn't really do that well at Man City, though, did he? He only played 86 games in like 3 years. So he wasn't sort of regular, was he, in the team? Or
no, I think he was definitely a I don't want to use the word backup, utility. There you go. So he could play in midfield or he could play on the defence as well. So, yeah, he wouldn't be up there with one of the best we've had, I'll be honest. But he was a good utility player.
I think he was older when he left, though.
Yeah.
Wasn't he about 29, 30 when he left Arsenal?
Not
I think
sure.
he was. I think he was right at the end of his career.
He was at Arsenal 7 years, so he would have probably been about then. Yeah, he played 284 games for Arsenal, so I thought he was decent. I was disappointed when he left. And of course, another player who was an absolute Arsenal legend, and he maybe had a season, I think, at Man City at the end of his career.
Oh yeah, crikey, understated. He I was talking about him the other week actually. The calmness he had on the ball. He was well into his 30s when he signed for us, but the calmness and influence when he ever touched the ball, players couldn't get close to him, and he would just be able to pass and direct. And brilliant player. You lads are so lucky to have seen him play in his prime.
I mean, people always talk about, obviously, the greatest players of Arsenal was maybe Dennis Bergkamp, Thierry Henry. They always get mentioned. But for me, Patrick Vieira has been the one player that we've never, ever been able to replace. And I don't think it's possible to replace him. He was just phenomenal. He basically ran that team for 5, 6, 7 years on his own. He was a one-man midfield. He just did everything. Defended, he could attack, he could do everything. He was just an unbelievable player. And he's another one I was gutted when he left after the FA Cup in 2005 because he still had a lot to offer, I felt. And unfortunately, we couldn't keep him and he went. But he
should have stayed at Arsenal until the rest of his career. He should have retired at Arsenal.
Yeah. He should have done, he should have done. He would have been absolute. Well, I mean, he's a legend anyway, but he would have been even more so.
That wasn't his choice, though. We sold him. He was upset when he left. The story goes.
I know. It's just, mate. Honestly, it just drives me up the wall. It makes me upset thinking about it. It really does. I just can't believe we let him go. And Gilberto had years left to play as well. You should never let him go. But anyway, I don't want to go into all that now. But Vieira leaving is an absolute tragedy that he left. Patrick Vieira.
Yeah.
Never let him go.
No, like you said, he should have stayed his career. He played 406 games for Arsenal, actually. So over nine seasons. So he's a fantastic player, obviously captain and just phenomenal. Another great Arsenal player who again maybe played for Man City at the end of his career. Absolute legend.
Yeah, from a City perspective, brilliant. City have always had a thing with having good goalkeepers. Through me growing up and into my dad's and my uncle's time, and even to present day, we always seem to have a good goalkeeper, and he was fantastic because I'd never really played football at a great level at all. You know, Sunday league at best, and then I was goalkeeper for school and things like that. And I always looked up to the Tony Cotons, the Seamans, and the Schmeichels of the world. And what a fantastic keeper he was! Brilliant.
Yeah, no, he was his best goalkeeper at Arsenal, definitely by an absolute country mile. Fantastic. He actually played 564 games for Arsenal, the record goalkeeping appearances for the club. He played 26 times for Man City as well in the season that he was there. I remember when we won 2-1 at the Etihad. I think our first time we played there, and he was in goal, and he let us win. He let 2 goals in for us, which was nice.
Very generous of him.
Yeah, it was.
Went 1-0 up that game, if I remember.
They did, yeah. Well, it was an own goal. It was an own goal, yeah. Who scored that own goal? Oh, it was Lauren, wasn't it? Lauren, I think, scored an own goal. And then we come back 1 in the second half, yeah. So I was quite pleased at Seaman letting a couple of goals for us there, which was nice of him. Another player who played in the same Arsenal team as David Seaman, and again, maybe didn't really play much for Man City, I don't think, did he, in the end?
Silvino?
Yeah, Silvino, yeah.
I don't really have many great memories. I don't really have. It was massive on him, that shirt, wasn't it? Yeah, I don't really have many great memories of him. I remember him being a good footballer, but never really jumped out to me one of the legends of the club, without a doubt. He only
played 16 games for Man City. That might be why.
Yeah,
you probably don't remember any of them. He played 16 times. He only played 72 times for Arsenal, actually, and scored 5 goals. He was a good player, yeah. He was a good player, but again, he maybe suffered a little bit with Ashley Cole. He lost his place, didn't he, to Ashley Cole, and then he ended up moving on. Ashley Cole got rid of a few left backs because he was so good, but we won't want to talk about him too much. And obviously, he did come up a little bit earlier on as well.
Brilliant. Love Dickoff. Do you know what? He probably did better for Arsenal than he did for City, but Paul Dickoff will always be loved at City. He's a cult hero.
Didn't he get you promotion, Tom?
He did. Him and I can't remember, Gillingham, 99.
Gillingham.
Yeah.
He was 2-0 down or something.
2 minutes, 2-0 down, 90th minute, drew 2-2 and went on to win the penalty shootout. And do you know what? I love Paul Dickoff. I think every City fan that's over the age of 25 knows and loves Paul Dickoff for what he's done. He's brilliant. Obviously, he won the cup with you, didn't he? He won a few things with you before he moved on. But yeah,
well, he never really. You'll be surprised actually. Paul Dickoff only played 24 games for Arsenal, scored 6 goals.
I thought he played more than that.
For Manchester City, he played 181 games, scored 41 goals. So I think he had a better career at Man City. I know he played maybe lower division, but he never really got a regular game at Arsenal. Again, Ian Wright was there, Kevin Campbell was there. He didn't really get much opportunities. He tended to score against Arsenal quite a lot for other teams that he played for. But he only played 24 times for Arsenal. Which
do you know what? I thought he played more. I don't know why I thought that. Yeah, I just don't. But yeah, no, I'll have that one to City then. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah. I mean, he was at Arsenal quite a long time. He just never really played very often. He was backup striker, and he got the odd game here and there. That was it really. But he did score 6 goals over 4 years that he was in the first team squad. Obviously, I suppose we'll have to mention this guy as well. Another one we about. No, well, I mean, he's kind of up there a bit, isn't he? I must admit, I quite like Nicolas Anelka. I've got to be honest. I know he left Arsenal under a bit of a cloud, but he had obviously a great couple of years at Arsenal, didn't he? He was a great player. What did you make of him at City then, Tom? Anelka, he was good, wasn't he?
Brilliant. He was like a rainbow on a cloudy day. Sometimes he was obviously born offside, unfortunately, but he was a brilliant player. And we didn't have many things to cheer about in the days of Anelka, and to have a player, this French marauding striker who could score from anywhere, outside the box, inside the box, with any part of his body. He just brought a bit of class to a team that didn't have any, and it was great. I really enjoyed watching Anelka play. Really enjoyed it.
I think I saw his first game. I think away to Derby, wasn't it his first game? I definitely went in that game. It might have been his first game. I think they brought him on as sub, and he changed the game.
That was the last game at the baseball ground, wasn't it?
That's it. They played the last. Did you go to that game?
Yeah,
Richard. They played the last post, didn't they?
Yeah,
I went there.
Yeah.
Very
no,
fun.
it was a good day, last game of the season. Yeah, it was a good day there actually. Yeah. So he ended up. Nicholas Anelka played 90 games for Arsenal, scored 28 goals. For Man City, he played 103 games and scored 45 goals. So he was probably better at City actually, although he was in a better Arsenal team. But yeah, his goal scoring record was pretty decent for Man City actually. So 45 and 103 games. I'm guessing some of them would have been from the bench as well, probably. There's a player here that I'm surprised this guy is actually. If I can find his picture, if he's even a footballer. This dude here, is he even a footballer? This fella.
I'll be honest, I don't know who that is.
Does anyone know?
It looks like Denis Suarez.
It is Denis Suarez.
Denis Suarez.
Is it?
Oh, is
Yeah.
it? Did he play for City?
He did. He played 2 games for City. Yeah.
Shame on me.
Wow.
Where is he? Is he the lad that's gone over to?
He's at is it not Betis?
I forgot where he's
one of the lowest La Liga teams. I can't think who it is now.
Crikey! Yeah.
Apparently he's doing all right now, actually. But he's found his level. But yeah, what a disastrous signing he was for us. I mean, Jesus
Terrible.
Christ.
Funnily enough, his Arsenal debut was away at Manchester City just after we'd signed him in that January window. And I think I've never seen a worse debut in my life. He came on, he got pushed off the ball about 4 times, fell over, gave the ball away. He was just absolutely useless. And I'm thinking, who even is this guy? What is he? He's certainly not a footballer. The worst debut I think I've ever seen for Arsenal. He was terrible. We lost that game as well, unsurprisingly. 3-1, I think it was. But yeah, it was just dreadful. He ended up playing 6 games for Arsenal, surprisingly enough, every single one off the bench. And he played twice for Man City, so he didn't really have much of a career in England, did he? That kind of sums him up, really, for me.
I never knew he went to Man City, I must admit.
No, he was at Man City first.
Yeah, I never knew that. Yeah,
he was at Man City first. And that was in 2000. He was at Man City 2011 to 2013. He played for Arsenal briefly in 2019. And then he disappeared off the face of the earth and ended up in Spain somewhere, as Andrew said.
We got him in Barcelona. We got him from Barcelona.
Yeah, I think. Oh, hang on, he said it's Celta Vigo. Joe said he's at Celta Vigo. There you go.
Oh, that's it. Yeah. I knew it was something like that.
Celta Vigo.
Apparently he's doing all right now, though. He's having a good time there now. Good luck to him.
Oh well, he's finally found his level because he was absolutely terrible for us. Another player who never really impressed me at Arsenal. I don't think he did much at City either, did he?
Mora. There's only the one from Palace. Eddie McGoldrick from Palace. Yeah. Oh, and
quite weirdly, Eddie McGoldrick, he played 38 games for Arsenal and he played 39 games for Man City. So he was pretty average at both of them by the sound of it. He was 3 years at Arsenal and 3 years at City and played 38 games and 39 games. So obviously he wasn't a particularly regular, was he, at either club, unfortunately for him. He didn't really have much of a career once he left Crystal Palace, did he? It went downhill for him quite quickly, really. He's another player that we bought that maybe we shouldn't have done, never quite fitted in. And another one who went from Arsenal to City and obviously didn't do a lot there. Do you remember much about him, Tom, then at Man City?
I don't remember him, pal, to be honest. And that says an awful lot, doesn't it?
Yeah, exactly. We tried to forget him at Arsenal. Unfortunately, we haven't managed to yet. But he was good at Crystal Palace, so fair play to him for that, I guess.
It was the beginning of the end of the George Graham era, that was, when we signed him.
Yeah.
Him, Jimmy Carter, those players. I mean, George Graham just suddenly lost the plot, unfortunately.
Yeah. He did lose the plot, yeah. Another player who came through Arsenal's ranks, actually. He didn't play many games for either club, but he did play for both clubs. Anyone know who that is?
Was that the centre-half?
No. I think it was a winger.
I don't know who that is.
No, got no idea.
His name's Neil Heaney.
I mean, I know the name.
Right.
I know the name.
I know the name.
Did we buy very big football shirts then? We're our football shirts, like
massive.
one size only, one size fits all.
Got them cheap from AliExpress. but they were all extra large.
That looks
So
about 4 sizes too big, doesn't it? That one. Yeah. he only played 9 games. He played 9 games for Arsenal, all in that big shirt, and he played 18 games for Man City actually between 96 and 99. So there you go, 18 games. But yeah, that would have been in the lower divisions, wouldn't it? 96 to 99.
Yeah, it would have been League One, League Two territory. That. Yeah. They were very low days.
Probably his level, to be fair, because he was not good enough to play in the first division anyway.
I think it was, wasn't he an Irish international?
Yeah, so
I think.
Sounds Irish in his name.
Right, okay. There's a goalkeeper that sort of played. He played 1 game for Man City actually. I don't know if you remember him playing for Man City. The game he played must be that picture.
Stuart Taylor.
Stuart Taylor. Yeah.
Yeah. He only played 1 game for Man City. Actually. I'm surprised. I thought he played a few more than that, but he didn't.
He was notorious backup, best job in football ever with the number 3 goalkeeper. Yeah.
Well, in his whole career, I think he only played about 50 games in total in his whole career.
Wow.
What was it? 8 years he played at Arsenal. Played 30 games in 8 years, and 1 for Man City. Do you know that it was against Man City that he played? Who was it against? Do you know?
I wouldn't have a clue.
I don't know. I just thought you might have known, but yeah, it's only the 1 game.
Boston United or someone like that.
I do get the feeling it would have been like a League Cup, early League Cup game. Yeah, but I wouldn't have a clue.
I don't know if that ground behind maybe might give it away a little bit. I'm not sure. That's
Wolves.
A bit blurry.
Could be Wolves, maybe. Just seen the old gold.
Yeah, a bit of shot in there, a bit of old gold. Yeah, a bit of old gold.
Could be Watford, maybe Watford, possibly. Doesn't look like Watford's ground though, does it? So I don't know.
I want to find out now.
Yeah, I want to find out as well. Actually, I thought you might have known that to solve the problem, but you don't. So never mind. Now we've there's a player a bit obscure. This one, I must admit, he came through Arsenal's youth team, but he never played for Arsenal, and he only played 17 games for Man City later in his career. Anybody know who that is?
Is that Norwich top?
Yes, Norwich. He's well known for playing for Norwich more than anybody else.
Looks like Bruce Banner, to be honest. It's like changing into the Incredible Hulk soon.
That shirt's a bit tight, isn't it?
Well, it's a bit tighter than the Arsenal shirt.
Nah.
Anybody got any ideas?
Go on.
Before my time. I love that. I mean, I love those old Admiral kits, though.
Yeah, no, it's a nice kit, that, actually. Yeah, his name's John Ryan. And he played for Norwich. He was more famous for playing for Norwich, but he did play 17 games for Man City in the 1982-83 season. So there you go. Which was strange because he came through Arsenal's youth system. He actually got into the first team squad for Arsenal in 1964, but he never played for Arsenal. And then he moved on and drifted around a bit and played for Norwich for quite a long while, and then went to Man City for 17 games. So there you go. And here's one that I know Melvin will remember really well.
Oh yeah,
Mr.
Bert Frampton, isn't it? Bert Frampton.
No, not quite. This guy actually he was a striker. Yeah, he started his career at Man City, but he didn't actually play for the first team. And then he came to Arsenal in 1914. He played 343 games for Arsenal, so he actually had a decent career at Arsenal. And his name's Billy Blythe.
What's his name?
Yeah, Billy Blythe.
Billy Blythe.
Yeah.
He looks about 64 there. So sure.
Well, maybe he was. I don't know. I think he worked down the mines actually. But anyway, yeah. So there you go. 343 games for Arsenal, which at the time was probably one of the highest appearances in the club's history. So he was quite a good player for Arsenal. But here's one that I think Melbourne actually will know. Probably, maybe. Do you know who he is?
Is it Dave Bacuzzi?
It is Dave Bacuzzi, yeah.
Yes, get in there. He was a fullback, wasn't he?
I don't know anything about him. I don't know anything about him.
Dave Bacuzzi because of his hair.
Yeah, one of the T-birds.
Oh, right, yeah, possibly. But yeah, that was
Dave Bacuzzi. Brilliant name.
He played 48 games for Arsenal and he played 57 games for Man City between 1964 and 1966. There you go.
Crikey. An education tonight.
Yeah. And there's another one that I know Melvin remembers playing as well. This guy, do you remember him, Melvin?
That's the Lord, isn't it? That we only had one Lord ever play for us, didn't we? He was a Lord at night, and during the day was an actor. No, I ain't got a clue.
He looks like an
we
actor,
had,
actually,
we
doesn't
had
he?
Lord Bender.
He looks like he should have been.
Don't forget.
Yeah, that wasn't quite him.
Was he the
started-
first James Bond? Was he the first James Bond?
He might have been. He looks like he could have been, but no, he wasn't. As far as I know, James Bond wasn't around when he was around. He played 13 games for Arsenal in 1905, 1906. And then between 1906 and 1910, he played 81 games for Man City. And his name is James Blair. So there you go.
That was a pencil drawing as well, so that's actually before photography existed.
I'm surprised you didn't remember him, Melvin, actually.
I think I might have his autograph somewhere, but I don't actually remember him playing.
I'm sure you have. And here's one that you remember as well, Melvin. He was a famous player for Arsenal, definitely, this one.
Oh dear. That's the 50s, isn't it, that?
Actually, it's not. He played for Arsenal 1929 to 1930.
Oh, I
and then
don't
he
know.
played for Man City 1930 to 1933. Any ideas?
Not a clue.
His name is Dave Halliday. And he's famous for Arsenal for one reason only. He scored 4 goals in a 6-6 draw against Leicester.
Cool.
The highest scoring draw in the top level in English football. He scored 4 goals for Arsenal that day. He only scored 8 in total for the club in 15 games, and 4 of them in that one game. And he did all right for Man City. He scored 37 goals in 82 games in 3 seasons for Man City as well in the 30s. I believe that he might have played in the year they won the league. Didn't Man City win the league in the early 30s as well, in between Arsenal winning it?
Yeah, we won it. You Woolwich then? Woolwich Arsenal?
Yeah, Woolwich, that's it.
We were before. We'd moved out of Woolwich by the 30s, but yeah.
No, the 30s.
We did that upset Spurs. Yep.
Yeah. But yeah, I think he played in the team that won the league for Man City, actually. So he was a good player in his time, I guess. I suppose we're going to have to get to him, aren't we? I've been avoiding him.
I know it's coming.
I think we've exhausted pretty much everybody else. We didn't have to do it. I'm sorry. I'm going to have to do it. And no other pictures possible.
I can't see a thing. Cannot see a thing.
Other pictures apart from this one.
No, don't want to be involved. No.
Tell you what, I have never ever laughed so much in my life at a football game than the day he scored that goal and ran to your fans. I honestly,
be quiet.
I thought that was one of the funniest things I've ever seen. It was a cracking header.
It was a good header.
He's gone now, Andrew. He's gone. It's all right. You can come out now. He's gone.
He's off the screen.
He's gone. I can bring him back if you want.
He's not loved then.
He's gone. I mean, he actually had a much better sort of record at Arsenal. 142 games, 62 goals, which actually is not bad, is it? He played 45 times for Man City and scored 19 goals, but nobody remembers the other 18, just that one that he scored on that particular day when he decided to run more than he ran in any other game in his life to the other end of the pitch.
I genuinely never seen him run that quick before that
game. Nobody had. We had. We 4 years at Arsenal, never run that much.
I've seen him come into the defensive area before, to be fair, either. So yeah, I can tell you.
Yeah, that was one of the Premier League most iconic moments.
I wouldn't even use him as an ashtray, that bloke. I wouldn't even use him as an ashtray, honestly.
No. Gareth put Anelka scoring in the 90th minute for City at Highbury and getting sent off. I don't remember him getting sent off, actually. Does anyone remember that?
I remember him getting sent off. Now, why did he get sent off?
I remember him scoring.
It was a penalty, I think, and he got sent, or it was a goal that was this or that. Something, either a goal or a penalty. He was arguing with a ref, I think. I don't think it was a foul. I think it was arguing with a ref. I think it was that, if I remember rightly. What was it?
I mean, Gareth said it was 2004. I think it was 2004 that he scored. We won 2-1 at Highbury and he scored. I don't remember him getting sent off. Maybe he did. It's just slipped my mind. But he wouldn't surprise me.
I don't remember him getting sent off. Yeah.
Yeah. But there is actually one more player. I wanted to finish on a more happier note, actually. So there is one more player who played for both clubs. And, of course, another legend.
Oh, Rocky.
Oh,
yeah, brilliant. Honestly, we didn't see that much of him. But what a fantastic player he was. What a fantastic player.
Team up behind my lovely original drawing.
Yeah,
Fantastic.
Yeah.
My favourite ever player.
Yeah, he's fantastic. What an
Charlie
unbelievable
do that?
footballer he was.
Andrew, did Charlie do that? Did Charlie do the
No,
drawing?
no, it wasn't Charlie. I'll put the I put the link on Twitter before. Slipped my mind, but I'll put it on in the notes, the show notes or something for you.
All right.
But because all the profits go to charity for these Rocastle prints, so definitely recommend them. They're fantastic.
I always remember a interview that Ian Wright gave about Rocky, and obviously it doesn't take much for Ian Wright to get emotional, does it? But honestly, that really hit a nerve. That did. He was obviously well loved at your place, and yeah, he was a great player. What a shame.
Yeah, no, it's a terrible shame. No, I'll never forget that day against Tottenham when the news broke just before the North London derby. One of the sort of saddest days ever, really, at football, certainly. Out there's put a comment in for Tom about you saying that you managed to get Vincent Kompany in the Premier League all-time 11 ahead of Tony Adams. I mean, that's actually...
How are we doing, Albie? All right, pal.
That's sacrilege, that.
Well, you know, it's the truth will out. Unfortunately, I'd take Vincent over Tony any day of the week, and I still stand by that.
I mean, to be fair, the Premier League, I mean, Tony Adams had a lot of his glory days before the Premier League as well, I suppose, captaining Arsenal to the league title. So maybe he obviously still should be in the Premier League 11. But anyway, that's another debate for another time.
Sticking them next to each other, that would have been some team, wouldn't it?
Well, they wouldn't concede many goals, would they? That's for sure.
No, that's very true. Very true. But yeah, no. How are we doing, pal?
Maybe David Seaman in goal behind them as well. That'd be good.
Take that.
Yeah.
No ponytail, though, please. No ponytail.
No, yeah, the pre-ponytail days. Yeah, definitely. So yeah, I think we've done everybody. I can't think of anybody else unless anybody else knows of anyone that played for both clubs that I've maybe missed.
I've got a question for Tom.
Yeah.
You won't. I don't think you'll get this. A guy that played for the Arsenal, managed City.
He played for Arsenal, called City.
No, played for the Arsenal and managed City. Was a manager at City.
Managed City.
Alan Ball. Alan Ball.
That's good. And there's one more.
It's not Frank Clark, no. No.
Before that, I'll tell you, one of the most Joe Mercer.
Bloody hell! Yes, of course. Right. Okay. Yeah.
Joe Mercer. Yeah. He did manage Man City. Yeah. And of course, there's one who's done the other way around. Of course, Mikel Arteta, who's kind of was at Man City and played for Arsenal, and not manager at Man City, but he was second in command, I suppose. So maybe he should get a mention a little bit as well. I suppose we should.
Yeah, well, he does first. Right?
Well, yeah. Let's see what happens on Sunday, I suppose, before we worry about that. But yeah, but that seems to be everybody. I think that we've pretty much covered there. That was quite there. Some annoying players that we don't like. And some players actually did pretty well at both clubs, actually. So, pretty good list this week for that, which is good. Why don't we sort of move a bit more kind of up to date now, look ahead to Sunday's game, and we'll go through this. I think our team lineup is going to be quite interesting on Sunday as this game comes between the two Europa League games. Will there be rotation of the squad? That's what is on my mind. What are you thinking, Melvin, for Sunday? Do you think there's going to be a lot of changes to the team? I've got a feeling there might be. Yeah,
I think there will be. We'll change a lot of things here. Mari might play. I think what else might happen? We can't play any other. Well, Tierney will play. I think they might play Tierney. He might do. I think Mari. I think Holding might play. Midfield, he'll probably stay with Xhaka, and he might. Who else has he got to play in midfield? I don't even know. There's no one else. Is there? Better Ceballos. Who else?
El Neni.
Sorry, no, he'll play El Neni. I think he'll put Lacazette up there. I think he'll. I'd like to see him drop Saka. I don't think not drop. Rest Saka. But I don't think he will. He needs a rest. I'd like to see. I mean, is Nelson injured?
I don't know.
No, I mean, he's not played for the under-23s recently, and he was the best player on the pitch. Scored a screamer of a free kick.
Interesting. Well, perhaps I'd like to see Martinelli given a run out and just move it, change it around in the forward line. Listen, whatever team we put out, and it's a horrible thing to say being an Arsenal.
We're going to lose.
Yeah. I can't see us winning.
That's
I know
my
we're
feeling as well.
I think we've got to play the game, and anything we, as long as we don't gamble too much with the players, anything we get out of it will be a bonus. So that's it. And I'm going for. It's in my head or my heart again. Am I going for a 1-1? 1-1.
Oh, that's optimistic.
Bite your hand out. Bite your hand off at 1-1. I'm just thinking something strange going to happen.
That is optimistic. I'm sort of liking that. I'm liking that. That's pretty optimistic. Gareth then clears up the Anelka situation. He said he got into an argument with Edu and Cole straight after he scored. He shoved Cole and got sent off. Well, there you go. I don't remember that. But I remember the game because I remember him scoring. But
does ring a bell now, actually. Does ring a bell, yeah.
And Joe said there another player who played for City and Arsenal's Mari. Did he play for Man City? Pablo Mari?
Yeah, I think he did.
He never played the first team game for him.
He was at Man City.
Didn't play for them though.
Oh, right.
Yeah, never played for him.
He
was there. They owned him. They owned him, but he never played for him. He went straight out on loan to Spain, I believe. Yeah.
Oh, City have got a knack of buying overseas talent and shipping them off to Girona or one of the other clubs in France or Spain that the group owns to build up the portfolio of players, don't they? And he must have been one of them.
Yeah.
Oh, I didn't realise he'd been at Man City. But I mean, the fact he didn't play for Man City doesn't exclude him from our list because there's quite often players who haven't played for one of the clubs that gets included. So there you go. But anyway, I didn't realise he was at Man City.
I wouldn't be surprised if he never set foot in England when he was part of City. I bet he didn't.
He was at City for 3 days after he signed. Not when I say he was at City, he was owned by City 3 days, and he was shipped off on loan immediately.
Yeah, well, there you go. So, Tom was right then. Joe said there that apparently Nelson started for the under-23s today, so he's clearly fit, but he doesn't fit in with players, does he?
Put the score on, because I don't know. I haven't seen it.
Put the score on, Joe, if you know the score of the under-23s. It'd be nice if it's finished.
This game, Man United, I think, today.
Yeah. So, Andrew, what's your kind of thoughts for our team lineup for Sunday then? Do you think there's going to be loads and loads of changes from Thursday, or do you think he might try and play a strong side to try and win the game? I know it's going to be hard.
I really want him to play the strongest 11 possible for all of these 4 games, like coming up. Because if we can get, obviously, if we need to rest a player because of injury or whatever, just drop that player out. But I don't want to rotate it too much because our season is going to live or die by the results of this month. So I would really stress that I would want to go full strength 11 and try and win the game. I don't want to see us completely rotate and just roll over and just accept the defeat. I really don't. So if we lose tomorrow, if we lose heavily, for example, if we rotate a lot and lose 3 or 4-0, what's that going to do for our confidence for coming up Thursday? I don't want to see that. I don't want to see it. I think we should, I don't care. Rest the players when it comes to the match against Burnley, for example. But we've got to win these next 3 or 4 games if we can, because our season will die if not. So I wouldn't rotate at all personally. I want to go full strength. So, but whether he will or not, I don't know. I literally can't see what he's going to do. I really can't.
I mean, I agree. I don't want us to play a technically weaker side, although the chances of us winning the game don't seem that high. But I'd still rather we played a strong team, gave it a go, and you never know. I think we need to win as many or pick up as many points as we can in the league, because I think getting in the top 6 is massively important for us. Joe just put the score there. He said losing 2-0 to City that we're playing. Yeah.
Oh, City. Sorry, City. Yeah, not Man United.
So we won't dwell on that too long then. But yeah, I want him to go strong as well, but I don't think he will. I think there's going to be at least 5 or 6 changes from last night's team. I'll be surprised if there's that. I just think he's going to rest a few, rotate the squad. Martinelli will probably start. Tierney probably start, which is a good thing, I guess. I think Lacazette will start. I think Hull will start. I think maybe Bellerin might get a rest and Cedric might move to right back, possibly. I think El Neni might play in midfield. I think Smith Rowe will be rested. I think Odegaard will be rested. I just think it's going to be a lot of the fringe players. Pepe will play. I think that's what's going to happen. Willian will probably play.
Yeah,
I think that's what we'll do. Yeah, I think that's what we'll do. And it may end up being a team that gets a result for us out of the blue. Who knows? I mean, what are you thinking, Tom, for the City team? I know Pep doesn't tend to make a lot of changes. He's going to be playing because he didn't play in midweek, did he?
He came on for the last 10 minutes. Tricky one, this, because we need to know if Gundogan's fit. There's rumours that Gundogan's fit, but I don't think he'll risk him. I think he'll start him from the bench. I think we'll start off with obviously Ederson in there. I think Cancelo will play with Stones and Diaz, and I think he'll put Zinchenko at left back. Rodri's going to be in there. If he's going to, I don't know how. If Kevin De Bruyne's played a couple of minutes, then I think he'll play, and then I think he'll play Kevin De Bruyne, Bernardo, and Rodri in midfield. I think it all just depends on how much he wants to risk KDB after coming back from an injury. Part of me thinks, because we've got Champions League the Wednesday after, that he'll keep Kevin on the bench and play Fernandinho a bit more of a defensive midfield, and then go from there. I think it's a tough one. This I won't give you a prediction for obviously I don't do predictions, but what I will say is if the best City team come, I think we'll win. It just really depends on how we perform on the day. I think it'll be first whoever scores first will win the game. I'm hearing a lot of negativity in your lads with the prediction. I think you're looking into City not losing 17 games. City have to lose at some point in the next 14 games, and we will do. And there's no reason why that Arsenal this Sunday.
Well, good runs are there to end, aren't they? At some point, they always do. I mean, our unbeaten 49 game run ended at some point. They always end eventually, I suppose. What about your front three? Who do you think is going to play in the front three for you?
Foden, Jesus, and Sterling. It's a funny one with Sterling because he constantly gets the captain's armband. He's had a couple of really good games, but I see a different Sterling this season than what I've seen differently. Somebody asked me the other day if somebody offered us a large chunk of money to sell him, would I? And I probably would. I think there's stronger options out there for him. He's doing really well, and he does well for the team, and he can obviously draw players into possession. But I think his final ball sometimes is really lacking. We've got Foden, who's been phenomenal this season, absolutely phenomenal. So he's got to start. And with Jesus being fit, I think he'll go up there. The only option I don't know, because obviously you lads think there might be a lot of rotation. I don't know if he'll drop Jesus and potentially put a false nine in there again and just put three attacking midfielders up front and see how that goes. But I get a feeling Jesus will start because he's fit, because we need to win and just carry on this great run of form that we're going at the moment. But it's going to be I honestly can't call it, lads. I think if the best team turn up, if the best City turn up, I think we'll win. But it's if buts and maybes at the minute, isn't it? Depends what's going to happen. The thing that you guys need to know is, and Arteta will know this, is the last 4 or 5 games, the first half the City have played has been dreadful. We've not been great in the first 45 minutes, and after the second half turns, that's when we perform and take it up a couple of gears. So if you're going to win on Sunday, you need to win in that first half and get a couple of goals under your belt, and then just defend like hell in the second half for us to come at you. That's the way I see Arsenal winning.
I mean, fair enough. We played Leeds, didn't we? Last week we played really well in the first half. So if we maybe play like that on Sunday, then maybe we've got a chance. Who knows? Depends on the side he picks, I guess, as well. But
But if we go full strength, I mean, anything can happen. You can go through, you can get a penalty, and the player can get sent off.
Yeah,
you don't know, do you? But you've got to play your strongest team. It's just it'll be really frustrating if we do what you said and we play players like El Nini and Willian and blah blah blah. It'll just be really, because that literally is just throwing in a towel and looking ahead to the next game and not even caring about this one. And what you don't understand is if we get like a massive defeat by playing players like that, it's going to wreck our confidence for the return leg against Benfica. So I really hope that we just go full strength and go out to try and win it. Like you said, what's stopping us from getting a 2-0 lead at half time? We can start the game really strong. We can.
I'll tell you what might be stopping us. The fact that Man City have only conceded 7 goals in their last 24 games. That's what might be stopping us going 2-0 up at half time.
Yeah,
well, like you say, give a penalty away, a free kick. Yeah, penalty away, a free kick.
Normally when we play Man City, they're normally got it. The game's over by half time when we play them normally.
Yeah,
exactly. I don't want that again. I don't want that to happen again. And when he's talking about Sterling, I think Sterling's your man against us because if my memory serves me right, he's got 7 goals in the last 6 games against Arsenal, or 7 goal involvements. I think actually, I should say. So I think he's going to be a bit of a thorn in our side, to be honest.
Aguero's not too bad against us either, though he's not playing. Richard, I've got to make a move if you don't mind. Richard?
Yeah, no
problem.
Yeah,
Tom,
no worries, mate.
Lovely to meet you, Tom.
You too, my friend. See you soon.
Keep well. Andrew, keep well, mate. Speak soon.
Mate.
Tomorrow night, Richard, on the old quiz, yeah? And you on the quiz tomorrow night?
Tomorrow night, of course, I've got about that, yeah. Tomorrow night on the quiz, yeah.
Thanks very much, and I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah.
See you,
Cheers, Melvin. Take it easy.
Bye.
See you later, Melvin. So Melvin's had to go there, but yeah, he's going to be back on tomorrow. We're doing a quiz tomorrow, which will be good. So yeah, I mean, yeah, Sterling has obviously done well against us previously, but I kind of agree. I agree with Tom actually. I think that his final ball, I think, does let him down more often than not. Actually, not just this season, but I think perhaps generally in his career it has done. I think he's improved obviously a lot, but I think that's always been an issue. I mean, Joe's got a question for you there. He said, "Do you regret selling Sane?" Because obviously he's
still it's the choice of question is not the right one because I definitely didn't want to sell him. Do I regret him leaving City? 100%. But unfortunately, it was his option to leave. He wanted to go. And that's a really tough one for me to take that. But he was swayed by. He's obviously German. Wanted to go back to Germany. His mum was his agent. And there's always rumours about, her wanting his son home and things on those lines. Do I wish he was still at City? 100%. And if he was still at City, I think we'd probably be 15, 16, 17 points clear of the league now from the current form. He is that good of a player, and I'm really disappointed. One thing I'm not that disappointed in, he's not the best start to life in Germany since going back. His form's not been as stellar as it was at City. So does he regret it? I won't be surprised if he regrets it more than we regret leaving him. So good question, though. Really.
Yeah, no, I mean he was a great player when he was at City, wasn't he? I think.
Brilliant. Yeah, he's electric. Yeah, he could score. He could run. His pace, it was blinding pace. He knew where the net was. He could finish. He is. Do you know what? If every team had a couple of him, they wouldn't have any issues striking and scoring goals. No issues whatsoever.
No, definitely not. No, I always rated him. Joe asked a question a bit earlier about do you think we should have waited to build our stadium? I don't think we had much choice really. I think if we'd stayed at Highbury with the capacity that we had, unfortunately, I think we had to move. Could we have stayed a little bit longer? Maybe a few years, couple of years, maybe. I don't know. I just think it was inevitable, really. I mean, obviously, Tom, you guys obviously moved stadium as well, didn't you?
Yeah. Why would you want to stay at Highbury?
I would want to stay at Highbury every day of the week. I wish we had moved.
Yeah, I would have wanted to stay.
Is that just because it? Did it
history?
Yeah, just the history and everything go with it. When City left Main Road,
more chance of winning at Highbury than anywhere else.
Right. Okay. It's an interesting one that. I started going to City when I was 4. So majority of my life watching City was at Main Road in the main stand. Loved it. Loved everything about it. Brilliant experience for me as a child growing up and seeing that and going underneath and having a bovril and all that rest of it. But when we got the opportunity to move to the Etihad, I saw that as I was a bit gutted because obviously the memories and all that side of things, but as utter progress for the club and City trying to get to the biggest thing.
Yeah, but I bet you if you were in our position, because your memories have been completely overtaken by all the success you've had since you've moved.
Fair point. It's a good point. It's a good point. That, and the older generation of City fans still say they would have preferred to stay at Main Road if we wouldn't have been. I suppose would we be where we are today without having moved to the Etihad? I don't know if the owners would have come in for City if we didn't have the infrastructure that we've got. So it's kind of a tricky question to answer. I have got some fantastic memories of Main Road, and I am glad we've moved in the same instance because it's kind of progress for me.
Like I said, if you'd have moved and your success was extremely limited, then you might feel differently, maybe.
Yeah, I know you could.
I don't think we've had any really amazing memories yet, and built up the history at the Emirates. It just doesn't compare.
Yeah, I mean that's the point, though, isn't it? I mean, we've only been at the Emirates since 2006, so that's what 17, 16, whatever it is, 15 years. So that's not enough time to really build that same history. I mean, we was at Highbury 93 years. You know, all our big successes came when we was at Highbury. You know, the 1930s when we dominated football, the double in 71, and then obviously the success under George Graham and Arsene Wenger, and all of that came at Highbury, didn't it? So us leaving Highbury was a massive part of the club gone. And I suppose I know Man City had success at Main Road as well. You won league titles, you won European trophies, and you won trophies there as well. But I think, as Andrew says, you know, the success you've had since moving has far eclipsed anything that happened at Main Road.
Yeah, it's true. It's true.
Maybe if we're in that situation later on down the line, maybe we will then warm to the Emirates in the same way. There's loads of success there, loads of great memories of lifting trophies, winning Premier Leagues and all that kind of stuff. Maybe it will change, but for me, I regret us leaving Highbury, but I know we had to do it, and unfortunately we had to move with the modern times. I guess that's what it happened. We couldn't expand Highbury because of the listed buildings and where it was situated in housing estate, similar to Main Road wasn't it? That was in a housing estate,
right in the middle of a housing estate. Yeah.
I remember some dodgy nights coming out of there, like of a night game down some little side streets.
Yeah, very much so.
but yes, so we had a similar situation. Obviously, there was all houses around the ground, and we couldn't extend it out and stuff like that. So we had to move, and I understand the reasons why we did it, and we did it for the right reasons. Perhaps it hasn't worked that way, but I think until we enjoy some real success at the Emirates, I think every Arsenal fan will feel the same, that we wish we hadn't left Highbury, because that's where the club is. To me, that's where Arsenal is. Arsenal to me means Highbury. It doesn't mean the Emirates. I know it's only around the corner, but Arsenal means Highbury. And unfortunately, I don't think anybody's really got over that was around in them days. I just don't think they have. And like I said, maybe until we had a lot of success at the Emirates, I don't think anybody will, unfortunately. And it's a shame because it's a lovely stadium, the Emirates. As a stadium, it's great. The facilities are great. That the view from every single seat's great. I mean, the atmosphere is not so good as it used to be, but I guess that's the same anyway. I mean, the atmosphere at Main Road probably was better, wasn't it, than it is at the Etihad?
Phenomenal atmosphere. Yeah, no, it definitely is. It took a while to get any kind of atmosphere at the Etihad. And that's just people finding the place and finding where they feel comfortable sitting and finding the singing sections and so forth. And the club do really well to try and get the atmosphere going. Yeah. So
they do. Yeah. I mean, I've got to be honest. I mean, at Man City away, I know I had a bit of a dodgy incident there with my son a few years ago, but I've always enjoyed it. I think it's a great stadium, and the club do try to make it an entertaining kind of day. A lot of stuff's on. You got the bar outside the ground, having really entertained kind of stuff, and I think it's great what Man City have done there actually, and it is a good away day. It's a lovely stadium, but I still like the old school grounds. I've got to be honest. You know, Main Road was, it wasn't always the safest place to go as an away fan sometimes, but it was a great atmosphere and a great old stadium. And it's one of the things I miss about football actually now. All these modern stadiums are great, they're beautiful, but they're all very similar for one thing. And I do think the atmosphere has suffered everywhere.
It's like going to Villa Park or to Goodison Park or something like that. The old steel seats and wooden chairs at Goodison and cramped seats at Villa Park. And I know where you're coming from with that. I do miss football for the social aspects, but I do miss the travelling and seeing people as well. It's hard, isn't it? Hopefully we're not far off going back.
Yeah, I think next season, I can see next season players back. Whether it'll be full stadiums again or whether there'll be restrictions on the numbers, I'm not sure. But I do think fans will be back next season. I think this season we'll have to write off. I don't think it's going to happen this season, but hopefully next season. I say it'd be nice because I say there's so many away games this season that I've missed going to. Man City was a big one, always went there, and Man United as well. Leeds would have been a great one this year. back up in the Premier League. So hopefully, I'll say next year we can get all this done. But yeah, it is a shame. But I think it's just progress in football with stadiums, though, isn't it? I think if any club, we couldn't have competed. Not that people don't think we compete now at top of the league, but with a 38,000 capacity stadium that we had at Highbury, there's no way we could have gone on to the success of the size of the club, really, and being in Europe all them years. We wouldn't have done that. We'd have been a mid-table club a long time ago if we stayed at Highbury, and unfortunately that's the reality of it. As much as we,
I don't agree though. We wouldn't have had all the expense we've had over the last decade. We wouldn't have had all that expense and we had to penny pinch to pay back the stadium. We would have been able to compete in the market more effectively, I think.
You got to look at what the season tickets cost now, though. What the club generate through ticket sales now to what they used to at Highbury. I know the prices would have gone up anyway, but you look at what the match day revenue was at Highbury compared to what it is at the Emirates when it's full. I don't think you can compare it. We couldn't have survived on that match day income for very much longer.
You've got to look at the expenditure we've been through over the last 10, 15 years as well. We wouldn't have had.
Oh yeah, no, of course. We're building a stadium.
So it's swings and roundabouts anyway. But
yeah, I suppose it is. I mean, Man City were lucky the fact that they didn't have to build their own stadium, did they? Because you just took over the Commonwealth Games
Stadium. Yeah.
Yeah, so obviously that saved you quite a lot of money there as well, I guess. We had to fund it ourselves in a way. I know we got funding for it, but you know what I mean? We've had to pay that back, and that's restricted us a little bit more than if we, like West Ham did as well, moved into the Olympic Stadium and stuff like that. I think it's easier to do that, perhaps, from a financial point of view.
I think we still are paying it back as well. It's going to take years. So
yeah,
it's a millstone.
Yeah.
Millstone.
But then I suppose it's a long-term project, isn't it? It's not like we were at the Emirates for 10 years. We're going to be at the Emirates hopefully for the rest of time. We're not going to move again, are we? So, eventually it'll be paid off. Eventually we'll be in a better financial situation, and eventually we'll be back challenging for winning the title, hopefully. I just hope I'm around to see it, because it's been a long time and I miss it, actually. I miss seeing us win the league, because it's been 17 years nearly now.
It'll all come round again. It'll all come round again. That's one thing.
It is cycles, isn't it? Yeah, it is. And Arsenal are a big club, and I know we will have success again at some stage. It's just, I hope I haven't got to wait too much longer. Another question here from Joe about Eric Garcia. What's happening with his contract situation?
Yeah, he's a Barcelona player now. He just wait till the end of the season and he's gone. City didn't want to renew it. So I do apologise. City wanted to renew it and sign him further, but Eric just wants to go home and back to the Catalan land where he comes from, and play for his hometown club. Good luck to him. It's a shame, but it's like a Sane situation. You don't want to stay. For me, I probably would have got rid of him sooner. I know Pep likes to play him, and obviously he trusts him to put 110% in, and he's probably a good little backup to have. That's probably why we didn't go. We could have sold him a couple of half a season ago and got 15, 16 million quid, but for the sake of having that backup defender, just in case the worst case scenario happened, I think that's why Pep's kept him.
I think they would have done that, but if the Barcelona have got no money, they couldn't afford to pay a fee for him.
Skint, aren't they? Bonkers, really. What's going on there?
I'm going to have
Couldn't happen to a nicer club.
Just to let you know. I'm going to have to say my goodbyes in a second, Richard.
Yeah, me too. I'm going to start getting the evil eye soon.
We're going to wrap up. I mean, obviously, thanks everyone for watching. Thanks to Tom for coming on. Absolutely pleasure, mate, to have you on and give the Man City perspective. And I know obviously you'll be enjoying yourself at the moment with how things are going, how well you're playing, and obviously the last few seasons as well, the success that you've had. I can just about remember what that feels like to have a team like that. So enjoy it where you can.
It's all coming round in circles, lads. We'll be at the top forever, so it'll all come round again. Don't worry.
No, I'm sure it will. I say you just have to remember to enjoy these moments while you can, because they don't last forever, do they? And I maybe didn't appreciate perhaps the Invincible team as much as I should have done, because you just assume it's going to last forever, and you want it to last forever, don't you? And it, like you said, it doesn't. And but hopefully it will come back. But I say thanks for coming on the chat. It's been an absolute pleasure. Enjoy the game on Sunday. I'm sure you will do a lot more than we will. But we'll see. I am doing a fan reaction show straight after the game. I don't know if you're around. You can nip on for 5 minutes to give your thoughts on the game.
We're doing a live show ourselves. So let us know what time you're running it to, and I'll see what time we're finishing. I'll talk to you on Twitter.
Yeah, and I'll send you a link. I mean, I'll probably go. The game's
Depends
are
what the score is, obviously.
Well, you need to worry about that. It's more whether or not I want to speak to anybody.
No, that's fine.
How many are you going to score? Don't worry about how many you're going to score, Tom. That's the only problem for you.
Don't say that.
Yeah.
Don't say that.
It's hard life, isn't it? Eh? It's hard life, and it won't happen. You're going to win by.
Oh, brilliant! Listen, thanks for having me. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's been a pleasure meeting you.
No, so we'll speak again. Hopefully, we'll speak on Sunday after the game.
Cheers,
thanks for watching, Joe. Cheers, Tom. Thanks for that. I'll speak to you soon.
Bye.
Take it easy.
Yeah,
mate. That's Tom there, I say, from Manchester is Blue, isn't it? The podcast that they're on. So check that out as well. Really good stuff. Andrew, just before you go, give your channel a plug as well, because I know you've got some great stuff on there.
Yeah, I hope you can hear me. Can you hear me all right? So the screen's frozen.
Yeah, I can hear you. Yeah, no, I can hear you now, yeah.
Good. Oh, fantastic. Well, yeah, it's from Dial Square to Where. We had a week off on Wednesday. Should be back this week. And for more fun and absolute hilarity, of course. So yeah, you can give us a subscribe on YouTube, From Dial Square to Where, and I'm at From Dial Square on Twitter. So give us a follow. Always up for a good chat.
Yeah, definitely subscribe to the channel as well, because there is some great stuff on there. Some different content as well, which is always nice. It's always different on there, which is great. So yeah, but thanks everyone for watching. Thanks for you guys in the chat as well. There's been some great comments. Joe in particular, some great questions there as well. Albert popped in earlier, Gareth as well, and a few others earlier on, Shane as well. So thanks to all you guys. Ender as well was in there earlier on as well. And Tom's a nice guy. Yeah, no, he was a really nice guy. Yeah, so look forward to hopefully chatting to him on Sunday after the game as well for that show. And yeah, thanks for watching, Shane, as well. Always good to have you on. So yeah, thanks everyone for watching. I say loads coming up on the channel. I've got my preview of the Manchester City game coming out tomorrow. I'll probably release that at lunchtime. I've recorded it today, and then of course I'm doing a watch along Sunday as well, going live about 4:15, and then after the game about 6:45 I'll be doing the post-match show. I don't know if you want to pop on, Andrew, just to give your thoughts on the game if you want. Going to come on that after?
Yeah, no problem. Yeah,
if you're around, I'll
be good. Give us a nod.
Yeah, I'll pop a link out, get maybe 4 or 5 people on afterwards, just to have a quick thoughts on the game, and then we'll do that as well. So that'll be good. So stay tuned to the channel for that. Make sure you subscribe as well. Say subscribe to Andrew's channel. Check out Manchester is Blue podcast as well for Manchester City, but maybe not on Sunday when they beat us, but we'll see. You never know. We might pull it off. We might do the shock of the season and win. You never know. Wouldn't that be nice? But anyway. Yeah, so say thanks for tuning in. Thanks for your support of the channel. And in the meantime, of course, as always, come on, you Gunners! Come on,
you Gunners! Come on!
Come on!